you see me on there?
Yeah.
And now go ahead and turn the volume up just for a second to see if you can hear me. Although you should need that. You should be able to hear it through the speakers here.
No, I don't want an echo. You need it turned up on.
I'll have it like right there.
You got it?
The volume's up on here, yeah. So, by the way, we're completely live right now. So as we're fumbling through this, let's see. God, I really am getting more handsome every day.
I know.
I'm at the age where if I lie to myself and then I believe the lies, then I want to keep going on. Is it on? Oh, cool. Actually, I can ask everybody else. You guys can hear me, right? Beautiful. All right. So we are 10 minutes away. Merry Christmas, everybody. We are 10 minutes away. The feed's great. Sweet. Okay, so far everything's working. I could throw discs in front of 100,000 people and wouldn't even make me nervous. But I am nervous about this just because there's so many technical working parts. And it's 11 people, 12 people, 13 people. Wow, Merry Discmas. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to. Okay, I'm gonna get some coffee. This is gonna be. Oh my God! Hi, Victoria. Hello, Joe, Justin. What was that show? Was it Captain Kangaroo or the end of the show with? And I see Billy and KL and Sheldon and Zane and Joe
as well,
and people on YouTube as well. Oh my gosh! All right, we're gonna loud and clear. Cool. This is so great. We have 70. Wait, is that right? 72 people in here?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so I'm already surpassing just about one of my biggest clinics. What? Johnny. And Rob Stewart and Xander. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to I'm not gonna be able to say hi to every single person, or else that's all I'm gonna be doing. Brandon, I'll say hi to Brandon. I love you, Brandon.
I'm just having a baby.
Who is? Xander's having a baby? Please tell me you stepped out of the delivery room to watch the Christmas party. That would be such a great story someday when you want to send your kid to therapy. Oh, we have a guest already looking to log in.
All right.
Yeah, hold on. So whoever the guest is, give me just a minute. We're a couple minutes away from starting, but I will start a few minutes early, but I got to get one thing. Don't get it? Okay. All right. So, and can I let the guests in?
You can. It's Patrick.
Is it Patrick? Perfect. I'm going to let Patrick in then. I can click Patrick and I'm going to say add to stream. Let's see. And then it says add, let's see, invited guest. Okay, let's see if it works. I see Patrick on here.
Oh, hi, Scott. I didn't see you there.
Hello. Hey, everybody. So if you're wondering who this is, some of you may not know, but this is the author of the best-selling disc golf book ever, The Zen of Disc Golf.
Hi, Scott. So, Merry Christmas.
Man, Merry Christmas to you, too. I'm so happy you showed up. And I appreciate the early morning plug.
Oh.
How would I be different if my prime was now? Well, I wouldn't be aging as poorly as I am. So that's cool. Thanks for coming out. How's the kid doing?
Oh, wonderful. We had a wonderful Christmas this morning. I got off work this morning at the fire station. We had a hell of a windstorm last night, so we had a lot of wires down and stuff. So I'm lacking sleep, but I got home for the little one. We got presents open. It's good morning.
Well, if you had wanted sleep, you wouldn't have had kids. So shame.
Or join the fire department.
Or join the fire department. Hey, so you have a new book out. What's the new book? It's a new disc golf book.
Yeah, Scott, it's Disc Golf Strategies and Tactics, the Zen Disc Golf Field Manual. And I'm pretty excited about it.
Beautiful. It is on my list. Hello, Will. It is on my list. Well, this is going to be great. And I appreciate you so much stopping by. We're going to get everybody in here for just a few minutes to stop by. We have a list of 16 people. And then there's also going to be not just well, there's going to be some other guests as well, special guests that could only 90% commit, but didn't want me to announce it in case they didn't show. Hey, what's up, Ray? So you just released this book. How long ago? Like just a few weeks ago, right?
Oh yeah, I think it was November 15th. Yeah,
November 15th.
Really cutting it close to Christmas. Oh yeah, sales have been going great. Of course, the first book, Zen and the Art of Disc Golf, is my bestseller. But I'm hoping that Strategies and Tactics is just as good as sells just as good as that. More importantly, I hope it helps people. But that's the first one.
I love it. And I heard a rumor. Well, if I'm not supposed to announce it, then I can't take it back.
You see this one though? You see this one?
Yeah, that one's really good. I've heard.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell the people at home something. There's a part of this book that has got to be the single greatest paragraph or sentence or anything I've ever read in a book.
Really?
Oh yes. It has to do with certain flowers on hole number 4.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, we'll save that as a spoiler. I don't want to corrupt the youth that are watching.
I was at the fire station yesterday and I was reading that and I had to stop and read it to everybody. I said, this has got to be the greatest part of any book I've ever read. And we all just laughed about how you presented it. And
well, I appreciate that. So
not only,
podcast coming up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Not only that, but this is a book a must for anybody who wants to understand the history of the sport, not just Scott Stokely. But so far, I'm about halfway through it, and I wish I would have had this book 10 years ago.
Well, I appreciate that. So tell me about, you have a podcast coming up.
I do.
You had a podcast that was wildly successful, and you took some time off for your family, now you're bringing back the Zen of Disc Golf podcast.
Yeah, it's actually the Zen Disc Golf podcast. And back in 2015, 2016, Sorry. We ran about 30 episodes. Had a great time doing it. Developed a really great fan base, but some things happened in my life and I just wasn't able to continue with it. You and I have talked about that and we're going to talk about it in the future. And I don't know if you want to give all that information away, but be my guest. But you had to take some time off for some health issues. I'm back. I'm excited about it. The people are excited about it. And I got great people like you who are helping me push it.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and I'll let you share that. This is your personal story. I think it's a best story told by you. But we just connected by complete coincidence.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? We don't have any other guests on yet. You want to just share briefly what took you away from the game, if you're comfortable?
Yeah, sure. There was a couple things. During the podcast, my wife was pregnant and we had a baby. And of course, between that and career stuff going on, it was, I had very limited time to devote, unfortunately. And I hate that I did that to my fans, but I couldn't keep up with the popularity and how much the show was growing at the time with the new baby and career stuff going on. But later on, as I was trying to keep up with it, I got hit by a dump truck on the interstate, and I suffered a traumatic brain injury, and also jacked my hand up, my throwing hand, so I really couldn't throw for a little while till I rehabilitated that. A little bit later, we found out my Bryce.
I'm sorry. Hold on, Elaine. We're going to bring you on in just a second. Love it.
Hi, Elaine. But my son was diagnosed with autism, and that's one of the things that connected you and I. Disc golf and autism and punk rock and being punk kids.
Yeah, and I know you'll be talking about these things on the podcast and just sharing your life journeys, and it's kind of almost ironic because you write a book about the Zen of disc golf, and then here's this thing that you're going to be needing the rest of your life to help you through some of these things. And so you wrote about the thing that's going to be giving you that Zen, which is, I don't know, I think it's ironic.
It really is. And to be honest with you, Scott, when I wrote the book, I didn't know it would sell at all. And it was kind of a self-help book for me. It started off as journal entries for me, and it was, hey, buddy, keep your chin up. And that was before any of this happened. So none of my books Do I think that I know it all? It's all reminders to me. Stay in the game, keep your head in the game,
Mike.
keep your chin up. Seems to help people.
No, I love that. And hey, so you can hang with us for a minute because we're going to bring Elaine on in a second. Mike Randolph, you're the answer to an upcoming trivia question, and I might have just spoiled things, but if we get to I got a bunch of trivia stuff I wrote out, but we're going to bring on, let's say 8-time PDJ world champion. If I got it wrong, I believe 3 in the Pro Women's Masters, 5 Pro Women Open Division, and then countless other national and world pairs titles and other ones. But she has so many of the singles titles she doesn't even have to talk about those. I'm going to bring her in. I'm so excited. Where is she? There she is.
Scott, you're breaking up really badly. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Hold on a minute. Let's see.
Okay.
I can also hear you.
Can you hear me okay now, Elaine?
Okay, now it's better.
Okay. Yeah, we're juggling new software because I wish I knew how to do things without going overboard. Elaine, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's great to be here sharing the Christmas experience with disc golfers far and wide.
So the question I have to ask you, very first question. If somebody had told you before you started playing disc golf that someday you would be referred to as a goat, would that have felt insulting to you, or just would it have perplexed you?
Insulting, absolutely. Nobody wants to be called a goat in the animal sense.
But now that gets thrown around a lot. Just like in the men's division and the women's division, it's hotly debated because there's great players from different eras, and we'd like to compare them, and which is a fantastic thing about sports. But you're certainly at the top of that discussion. You're still playing. You're still competing.
Absolutely. I wouldn't know what to do with myself otherwise.
I did a podcast interview with you, and it was so much fun because when you started playing, you were the only woman on the course. Or one of the only?
No, not strictly true. In Toronto,
No? Okay.
back in the early 80s, there was a solid group of women who played, and, they taught me so much of what I know now. I'd been trying to throw like the men, and that doesn't work when you don't have the body type and the physique. But yeah, I've always been fortunate to have at least a handful of women that I've played with.
Okay, so I guess I meant more in the metaphorical sense. Often you were we always outnumbered, but was that? I mean, what was that like? I mean, did the community embrace you? Was it because this comes up all the time as we're trying to, and the women's game is blown up, but trying to make an environment where women are more comfortable playing. What was what was challenging for you? What worked?
I think the vibe was really different back in the 80s. And I had an email just a couple days ago from Midge Erkenbrecher, which is a name that probably most of the viewers are not familiar with. But she was a tournament director with her family of the Cincinnati World Championships in 1989. And Midge herself was quite the pioneer because she was older when she started. She was in her 40s. Whereas in the early 80s, almost without exception, the players were in their 20s. It was a very young sport, very, very small sport, and extremely welcoming. Midge was writing to me in response to the article that I had written in Disc Golfer about Respect Her Game, saying, Elaine, was I just unaware of things back there? Did this always exist? And I certainly, from my experience and the experience of other women around me, I don't think any of us felt particularly unwelcome except in very, very isolated circumstances. But the sport was so much smaller back then that anyone who did it was just welcomed because we were such a small group.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to today where it's growing by leaps and bounds, courses are going in everywhere, and we're having a much more diverse group of people playing, which is great. However, we are getting people with different ideas and different values coming into the sport. Unfortunately, some of these ideas and values are to talk trash about players and talk disrespectfully about women and also about men to a certain extent as well. But this objectification of women is quite new, and it's largely fueled by the internet, where people can safely, behind their keyboard far away, write things for whatever motivations I can't imagine. And this has threatened to change the culture because people are writing this online, then people are starting to say these comments to women in person. And so I think, now is the time where we have to just steer the ship back in the right direction. And we need the support of all disc golf to make sure that everyone feels welcome on the course. Men, women, people of diverse backgrounds, people of diverse abilities.
I gotcha. And I'm getting technical. Does everybody? I'm starting up. Does everybody hear Elaine? Okay. Is it just me that's having the issues?
I can hear her fine.
I don't know if anybody. You guys can hear. Okay, cool. So that's an independent stream. It's not affected by me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Elaine.
Oh, no worries. I think I was at the end of my thought there.
I got Elaine's frozen.
I'm not frozen. It's chilly here, but I'm not frozen.
It's definitely cold this morning.
There we go. Okay. I didn't mean to cut you off, Elaine. I think we just switched to data, and I think that's going to be better.
Okay, great. Well, I think this whole movement of respect her game has been very positive for women's disc golf. I can see women in the chat groups feeling more empowered to speak out against it now that we've set this new bar, which is women shouldn't be subjected to sexualized comments. So women are starting to speak out against it. Men are starting to feel, comfortable, supporting that. I think men are sometimes in this awkward position where you're not sure whether you're supposed to interfere or let the woman handle it herself. So men are feeling more empowered to speak out and say, dude, that's not cool. We don't act like this. Go take up bowling.
As the bowlers all click off.
I feel like the tide is turning, and I'm really looking forward to the women's global event, which is coming up May 8th and 9th of 2021, because I think it's going to be perhaps double the size of the women's global event that was last held in 2018.
I think, it's fantastic. Well, and what you talk about is true. I mean, back in the 80s, we were all misfits if we played Frisbee golf because no one did that. I mean, and even though we got diverse backgrounds, I mean, you were pursuing a degree in biochemistry, I believe, if I got the science wrong, but there's also people that are doing the exact opposite career path. But we were all kind of outcasts doing this really unique thing that nobody understood, including our families and our bosses and our coworkers. So it did have a little sense of community that I think is going to, we're going to lose a little bit of that as we get bigger. It's not bad that we're getting bigger, but so I want to ask you, one of the funnest times for as an observer to women's disc golf was in the 90s when Juliana came onto the scene. And now we had tournaments where we had let's be honest, there was a lot of tournaments where if you were we knew who was going to win that event. And then Juliana had that same experience as she started getting better. But then all of a sudden you two were colliding at tournaments, and we actually got to be fans and watch the matches. I mean, that must have been exciting for you to have a real rival to go at, right? So I think Elaine froze up.
Yeah, you froze there, Scott. I think there's a connection problem between you and me, but I can see where you're headed is as the women's field is getting deeper. And the women's field has gotten extremely deep. And there's even been a difference in the year 2020 from the year 2019. There's more women on tour. The organizers have made it very attractive for women to be on tour. let's look at the Disc Golf Pro Tour offering the same bonus amounts for the top women's finishers in the series of top men's. That was a watermark event. I think a lot of women also toured in 2020 because work was scarce, and it made it less of a risk to go out on tour. And of course, those individual tournament directors being able to come up with funds. I don't know how people raised money in 2020. It was a tough year, but some tournament directors and clubs were really successful at it. And so we saw it attractive for women to try and earn a living to play disc golf. And of course, then you got the video coverage, live coverage, sometimes post-production day after and others. And the fans are just eating up the media coverage. I think also something that a lot of men have said is, it's great to watch the MPOs play, but frankly, their game is much closer to the FPO's games in terms of the way they throw, the distance they get, the control, and the strategy of attacking the course. So a lot of men are starting to watch the FPO's play to get pointers on their particular game.
Yeah, and they're paying attention more. One thing that I thought was kind of neat is that I posted one a day, 12 different guests or 14 different guests that were going to be on the show. And there's US DGC champions, PDGA world champions in the open division. And Elaine, you got the most likes. If you go look at my page, as far as the most people that acknowledged that they were excited that you were going to be on the show, you actually topped everyone.
Oh, well,
and I don't. I thought that I had nothing to do with it. That's all you. Maybe they heard that you won the world mixed pairs championships a couple times, probably more than twice.
Paul Gangley guy.
I don't remember who that was. I think he used to be handsome, but I can't recall his name. No, so I was asking you specifically, was it exciting for you when Juliana came onto the scene and you had a real rival that you could battle with? Like you had to have both to elevate the games.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a progression. Look, every year the players get better. And it was good for me to have competitors to push me. It was good for other women to see, rivalries and, friendly competition and seeing players push themselves. And, then we got Des coming on the scene and we got Val Jenkins coming on the scene. And, it's just snowballed into better and better players. And we've seen that in the women's field and absolutely in the men's field as well. And players' abilities are just eclipsing what we were like, Scott, in the old days. I mean, you try and compare, for example, myself in those early years and then Paige Pierce now. And, in terms of raw ability, Paige's abilities are much greater than mine. She can throw, 50% farther than I ever could, I think. Right. She's got a sidearm that is just about as good as her backhand. And I, was never able to convert the sidearm into much more than an approach shot. So it's really exciting to see players with just superior skills on the scene right now, and speaks to how popular the game is, how addictive it is, and we've not even begun to see the limits of our abilities.
Yeah, it was funny for me because I took 13 years off. And when I came back, I got asked on every podcast and interview, what was the biggest shock and the biggest change to the sport? And I felt the biggest change was the cultural acceptance that had somehow shown up that wasn't there in the 90s, just in the mainstream. But the second biggest, the biggest change was the women's field had started to blow up. And one thing that was really interesting was the first time I went to a tournament and I looked at the women's field and we said, well, who's going to win? And it was like, it's either going to be Sarah, Valerie. I guess it could be Katrina, or no, Paige could win. And right off the bat, there was this group of 4 women that were a pick'em, at least as an observer. And that wasn't the way it was back before I quit. I mean, that made an interesting spectator event.
Yeah, I think, Scott, also a big difference is we started getting athletes interested in choosing disc golf as their sport of choice.
Correct. For
Where,
sure.
when you and I started it in the 80s and even in the 90s, it was people who wanted to do an unusual sport. Not necessarily athletes, but people who are attracted to just this quirky, unusual sport. And I think you can bring the sport to a certain level, but in order to see true excellence and the limit of what people can do, you need to recruit these people who are naturally athletic, very coordinated, have got the strength and the skill and all that other stuff, who are choosing disc golf rather than any other sport. And that's absolutely what we're seeing in the sport these days, is we're seeing people who could have played tennis or any one of other sports that are higher profile, but choosing disc golf and showing how great a player can be, the kind of throw be executed.
No, absolutely. Do we have more people to read message?
Uh-huh.
Cool. So have you read The Zen of Disc Golf?
Sorry, Scott, you cut out there.
Hopefully, if I am cutting out, please everybody let me know if you can't hear me. So have you read The Zen of Disc Golf? Because Patrick is the author. Have you read it?
I read the Zen and the Art of Archery way back when, and I found that very inspirational. But no, unfortunately, Patrick, I've not had a chance to read your book.
That's okay. I was very inspired by Persig's book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That's where it came from. Same thing with Zen and archery. It all goes back to Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Yeah, I've read that as well. That's another classic.
Yeah.
Yep. And looking at Jillian and Des, God, it is so cool. It's so neat to be part of the connection to the history of the sport. I mean, like we're getting older, Elaine, but we're not that old, and yet we still have this direct connection to the players of today. It's really neat.
Yeah,
Bill Randolph, Terry Calvin. I'm sorry, what? My connection. Please, Kevin Jones chose disc golf over football. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen now. Ironically, I chose disc golf over bowling, coincidentally. Which is probably not a surprise in the 80s, right? So do you have plans? I mean, well, have you played many tournaments in 2020, Elaine? Or, I mean, have you kind of hidden out?
Yeah, I have played tournaments. I've developed sort of a strategy to keep safe while playing. It consists of, when we need to spend a night away, going to a hotel room with a mask, blasting the air, wiping down all the surfaces, making sure we blow all the stale air out and sanitize everything. So once I kind of figured out that routine, my husband, Eric Vandenberg, and I have traveled to a number of tournaments. I've not flown anywhere. I'm not comfortable flying, but anything that we can drive to within a reasonable distance, I've been attending the tournaments. And of course, as part of the PDGA medical committee, we've sort of figured out where the risks are with disc golf, and it's a much lower risk activity than many activities that people are doing. And it's just a matter of keeping enough distance from the other players. We're out in the fresh air moves. You have a much lower risk of getting a dose of virus that would make you sick. However, you can definitely do that if you let your guard down. So I've just been like backing away from people and not hugging them and, trying to just, I don't want to get sick. There's no need for that. And so I've played, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 events. In fact, I'm playing another event tomorrow, which will be my last of the year. Yeah.
So I'll tell a quick funny story about you that like one of my memories of you. So just a quick aside, I remember reading about Matthew Broderick one time. He's now a Broadway. He was Ferris Bueller, but now he's been on Broadway for years. And I remember reading a story that he was so good at his craft that he would be backstage playing cribbage. And then in the middle of the game, in the middle of a hand, he would set his cards down, jump out on stage, read his lines, jump back, and then finish his hand of cribbage. Like, in this audience full of people, he had just mastered his art so much. And I was thinking about that, or when I heard that story, I thought about you. And we were playing the World Doubles Championships, and we had a couple holes to go, and it was really close. We were up by like a stroke with about 2 holes to go, and we had a crucial putt to hit, and it was alternate shot. So you were going to be making this putt. I don't know, it was maybe like a 25 or 30 footer, but we, with like 2 holes to go with a stroke lead, and I look over to putt, and you were having a conversation over there with like 3 or 4 people, just enjoying yourself, enjoying your friends. And I'm like, Elaine, we got this putt to make. You ran over. This is in Minnesota. You ran over, marked the shot, threw the putt in, didn't even high five me, went back to finish a conversation with them. And it was like you had mastered. I thought about Matthew Broderick. Like, you mastered this so much. It was like, oh, putt to win a world title. I'm sorry guys. Just give me a second. I'll be right back. It was at Hastings. C.P. Adams. You probably don't remember it.
I do not remember that particular instance about talking with people putting and going back.
You did. I remember, because I was like, "What are you doing, Elaine? You need to make this putt." I was like nervous because alternate shot's difficult because it's more nerve-wracking an alternate shot because you have no control. Your partner's doing the shot for you. But cool. I don't know. I guess, like when you're a celebrity, when you're Elaine King, other people remember things about you that you don't, because maybe this was just another day for you, but it wasn't for me. Hey, someone just jumped in. Let me see who it is.
I remember about you.
Oh my God.
There was one putt where you told me, now, Elaine, I think we got a few strokes on the field. We're doing well. Don't even try this putt. So I guess that look in my eye that I'm thinking, I think I might be able to make this one. And you were like, lay it up. So
I know that sounds like me. Actually, back in the 90s, I wasn't the best putter. I'm a much better putter now, but I probably didn't want to have a 20-foot comeback putt with a 1-stroke lead at the World Championships. So I was probably thinking to myself, not you. Hey, I guess what? We got another guest about to pop in. Yep, here we go. And if we get a slow connection, Patrick, I may start bumping the older people out.
That's fine.
Let me see what it looks like on the screen.
Hey everyone.
Jeremy Koling is here, guys.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah. And I got a little
Christmas sweater, the Merry Katniss pants, and the jingle socks.
Thank you for wearing pants, Jeremy.
I wasn't going to, but you told me over and over again, you have to wear pants, and I said I'm not going to do it. And you said, Jeremy, you have to wear pants.
I did.
And I said, oh well, it's no dice. And then you offered me $100 to wear pants, so here we are. Now I'm wearing pants.
Yeah, you're welcome. And look for that PayPal in the morning. I'm not saying it.
Scott, you never told me to wear pants. I don't know what's up with that.
You don't have to. You're not.
I didn't wear them.
Big screen.
I didn't wear them, and I'm not getting paid.
I know. Well, maybe I'm flirting with you. You don't know. The audience doesn't know. Maybe.
I actually I caught the last bit of that double story with Elaine, and Elaine King and I actually played in mixed doubles world championships 2 times. Is that correct?
I can remember once. Where was it?
I know we played in Charlotte in 2012. Did we not play the year before? And you know what? We didn't, because I didn't play the 2011 World Championship. So it probably just was just 1 year. But we played together in Charlotte.
Such a long round.
Say what?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, all I was gonna say is I remember a couple things from that year. One of the things was I had like a maybe like a 80, 90-foot uphill jump putt that I was trying to make. And this is an alternate shot. This is in the second round. And I remember the disc like locking into the last digit on my finger and just grip lock my putt sideways. And it's like one of those moments when it's alternate shot where you just like look at your partner, and it's the embarrassment that you feel in singles is one thing, but when someone else has to pay the price for your mistake, it is so much worse. And I just remember looking at Elaine and being like, I'm so sorry. And I putted it so far away that she didn't have a chance. I think I like grip locked it into the woods. So it was a birdie putt to an instant bogey. But the other thing I remember was I had a tap out from, I don't know, like close enough where I could reach the disc into the basket. And I tapped out with my left hand. And Elaine looked at me like she had just seen a ghost. And she said, what are you doing? Why are you being silly? You're not left-handed. I was like, I'm 100% in my life with my left hand. It's only on tap outs, but she was not having it. She was a ruthless doubles partner, and she held me accountable, and I really appreciated that.
I think that's awesome.
That's awesome.
And so, Jeremy, I don't want to turn this into a can you top this story of messing up your partner, but I got one for you that I did this to Brad Hammock at the National Pairs Championships in Round Rock. We were playing worst shot, and for those of you who don't know, worst shot it's just like best shot. Both people they throw, and the other team chooses the worst shot of the two. So in other words, you both have to make every putt. And I've done this twice in tournament play on flat ground with no hills or extenuating circumstances. But in worst putt, I 4-putted on a easy hole.
Okay, so there's tough shot and there's worst shot. So there's one version where both people have to make the putt, and then there's another one where both people have to hole out. And there's one where only one person has to hole out.
No, both people have to make it. Brad steps up and make it. I miss. Brad steps up and makes the comeback putt. I miss. Brad steps up, makes the comeback putt, and I miss. Brad steps up, makes the comeback putt, and I make it. And he didn't get angry. Like he just stared at me.
Oh, that's worse.
He had this look on his face, like
that's your parents saying, "I'm not mad, I'm disappointed."
Disappointed.
Yes,
absolutely.
It works.
Oh, I honestly, I can't imagine in the 90s having a more brutal partner to be paired with while you're having the yips in that format than Brad Hammock. Like, honestly, that's just like, there's no topping that. So you don't want to get into a topping who worse story. You can't top that. You've won. That's
actually Brad was actually great about it. He honest to God, he didn't say a single negative word. He put his arm around me. He's like, "It's okay, buddy." He was fantastic. So like that's the truth. I'm not just saying that because it's Christmas. Brad was great.
I don't have many Brad Hammock stories. He was kind of on his way out when I was coming in. The one thing that I will say that is so funny is that in 2011, have you played Hornet's Nest? I know Elaine's obviously played Hornet's Nest.
Yes.
Anyone who's played the Hornet's Nest, hole 9 is 160, 170 feet, but the basket's like from the ground level, there's one tier up that's about 4 or 5 feet, and then the basket's elevated on that. So from the very bottom ground level, it's like maybe 12 feet up in the air. And it's just a straight shot. There's nothing in the way. It's just a really tough putt. And I remember at the end of the tournament, it was the very last hole, I see Josh Anton booking it down the road, the main entrance road. And I'm like looking at Josh, I'm like, what would somebody have like a reason to run, like sprinting in this situation? Like, why would somebody be running? And I'll say, "Josh, what's up? What's up? Can I help with something?" And he said, "Oh, no, I'm good. Brad Hammock is finishing his round on hole 9, and I gotta go see him take the disc out of the basket."
Oh my God.
That is so wrong. But now, they're all ball busters. They like to bust each other's chops.
Spirit here.
Elaine, is she breaking up for you guys too?
To all.
Yeah, she's breaking up.
Now, you two, being with a tall golfer,
I know it's kind of cheesy for me to laugh at somebody being short.
Two of the tallest disc golfers on the planet. You dare in front of the rest of us.
I know it's low hanging fruit. No pun intended on that one.
Really, Jeremy? Hey, Brad will give it back. I remember one time seeing Brad and this was at National Doubles, and before the tournament, him and Dave Greenwell get into a wrestling match. And then, like, this is Nationals, and the next thing I know, Brad's like, oh, my shoulder's hurting. Dave's like, oh, my ribs are killing me. And I'm like, you think?
Yeah, no kidding. What did you expect? Oh, my hand's getting sore here.
There we go. So are you in Charlotte now? I know you were out at the beach for a while.
Yeah, I'm in home in Charlotte, not at my actual home. We are at Henry and Elise Childress's house. We are having Friendsgiving. We actually are in the midst of making pancakes and vegan scrambled eggs. Oh, did I say Friendsgiving? Oh, Friendsmas. Sorry, much different than Friendsgiving. Yes, we are having Friendsmas. So yeah, but I'm home until the season starts.
That's awesome. And I've already issued a challenge match, because you have these practice matches with Uli. Yeah. And I want my rematch with you guys. I'm going to be in North Carolina in about 3 weeks, and I want a rematch at Rennie Gold. By the way, to this day, if you push me to pick what I think is the best disc golf course in the world, it's not a popular choice, but it's Rennie Gold in Charlotte.
Wow.
I think that's my I publicly state that's the best course I've ever played. Although Caliber in North Idaho is damn close, but I think Rennie Gold still is my favorite. But anyways, last time I played you there in a very well televised challenge match, you beat me by 9.
Is that going to be for the belt, Brandon?
Was it 10?
I believe it was a 10-pack. A whole hand, hold all the fingers that I have on my hands.
No, I think
no, I think you're wrong.
I think it was
I shot
3.
60, and you shot par though. I remember you shot even par. Which the thing about Rennie Gold is that there are 18 blind baskets, and you play the course completely blind. You did not know where any of the baskets were, and the odds were stacked against you without question. So that was a tough thing to do. That being said, the first time that Nate Perkins came and played the course, he shot a 10 down. He shot a 60, which is one of the most impressive blind rounds I've ever seen, actually. But yeah, I'm down, dude. You got your rematch. I'll grant you that. You know, I feel like it was kind of embarrassing the last time you were here, and you have a little bit.
I am a much better disc golfer today than I was then, friend. And
I don't buy it.
Friend.
I'll talk. I want to see it. I want to see it.
So here's what I want to do. I want to see if I can do this. I want to demonstrate. You made the coolest putt I've ever seen at a disc golf event, and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna try to see if the camera will allow me to show people what you did. And I apologize if this doesn't turn out. All right. So here's what you did. So
left-handed tap in.
No, it wasn't a left-handed tap in. No, it needs to be down in there. You can see my feet. All right. So what happened was the target is at the camera, but it's about 45 or 50 feet away. By the way, this is on video. So go to Jeremy's. I'll let you send a link up. So the target's 45 or 50 feet away from you. Your disc lands here, right? So the disc is here, and there's a branch in front of you right here. And there's no way of getting underneath this low-hanging branch. So what you did was you marked your shot, you put your foot behind the mini, putting towards the camera, and then the only way, and this is, by the way, this is outside the circle, but the only way you could make the putt was you left your foot behind the mini, you illegally placed your front foot towards the target. So now that the front foot is towards the target, of course, you're now touching closer to the target than the mini. You lined up your putt, and then for a split second, you lifted your front foot, putted, and dropped your right front foot. 100% legal. No intentionally trying to circumvent the rules in some unethical way. It was pure genius and completely improvised on the course.
Man,
do you remember that, Jeremy?
I definitely remember that. I've attempted that putt in tournament less
Thank
than
you.
10 times, but I've only made it once or twice in tournament play. And that one was probably the longest of any of the times that I had made it. And to do it in that situation when we were playing the
Brad.
score for Sophia round was really special. And I have to say, honestly, going into that round, if you guys aren't familiar, Scott and I, we manufactured some kind of like wrestling match, like rivalry, to try to raise money for this 3-year-old named Sophia who had, I forget the name of the condition with her heart, but she needed some money raised. And so we had people bet on who they thought would win. And that money was all then donated to Sophia's family. And anyhow, going into that match, you know, like I was not only playing for someone else and a great cause, I was going against somebody that I've looked up to in the sport for years. And, you know, before we had ever met, Scott, like you were this legend that like I'd always wanted to meet. We had so many, I had so many times people would be like, dude, you throw spike hyzers like Stokely, you throw sidearm like Stokely. And like, you were the one guy that I never had the pleasure of meeting. And so I was not only playing with somebody that I always looked up to, but I was playing for a great cause. So going into that round, I can say, honestly, I don't think I've ever felt the nerves quite the way that I felt the nerves that day. Like I was actually like really nervous on hole 1. So I remember a lot about that match. That was a really, really, really fun round.
Okay, well then I have to ask, if you had so much respect for me, don't you find it rude to have beaten me by 10 strokes on live video?
I gave you every opportunity to beat the course record to beat me, and you just didn't walk through that door.
That was pretty disrespectful of you. It was a really good thing, and the funnest part of all, the way the story went. And by the way, hi Brad, we're going to bring you on in just a second. The way the whole thing went was we're going to do this challenge match, but how are we going to get interest in this match? You just won the Memorial. I've been gone for like 13 years, back for like 6 months. Like there's no chance I'm going to beat you. I mean, 1 in 100, maybe, but probably not. So how do we get interest in the match? And so I said, hey, let's make everybody think we hate each other. and then we'll have these call out videos and make people think there's general heat here. And then people will be interested in it. And then I remember I said, and we're going to do a pro wrestling style. You need a good guy and a bad guy. I'm going to be the bad guy and make everybody hate me. And your exact words, you said, are you really sure you want to do that? And I'm like, yes, that'll be fun.
Well, I also don't think it was really hard for you to do that either. I mean, I feel like you were kind of a split. It was a split decision out there already on whether people liked you or not.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm not conservative. What I was saying, Patrick, and I'm going to bring you on in 1 second, Brad.
I think that was sort of effective because there's a number of videos that I've personally watched on YouTube of you guys being rivalries and doing practical jokes against one another, and they're enjoyable.
Well, you know what, Scott? As much as you want to give me a hard time about just absolutely embarrassing you at my home course, you know, the practical joke that we're not going to get into at this time because I don't know, you got other guests coming in. Well, yeah, there's something that I honestly don't know how to return a practical joke on somebody who is already a practical joker. Like, what could I do that would actually like give you some fear or anxiety the way that you delivered to me that one fateful day back in Pennsylvania? But it was one of the best practical jokes ever played on me, and there is evidence of me being genuinely worried. And yeah, so anyhow, I feel like you got your revenge and then some that day.
I will. Well, cool. Hey, so I'm going to go. We have another guest we're going to be bringing on. This is somebody, another one of these friends of mine from way back. He is the winner of 150 PDGA tournaments, and he is still, I mean, I know you said you're humble, like you're one of the best players in the history of Ohio. You are the best player from Ohio and that region. Brad Schick. Brad.
What's up?
Thanks, man, for joining me.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
How's it going, Scott? Have a Merry Christmas. Hey, Big Germ.
Hey, dude. My audio or my video is like stuck. Are you guys seeing me in real time?
Yeah, you look. Yeah, you look as ugly as you did 5 minutes ago when the video worked.
Okay.
It looks great. So what's up, Brad? What are you doing? What are you doing today?
Nothing. Just shoveled snow. Just hanging out. Got some family coming over in a bit. A couple of people. So, it's about it. Nothing really. It's crappy out. We got about 4 or 5 inches of snow last night. So went out to start the snow blower. No go. So shoveled it all.
That's cool, man. So you're still playing full time.
Well, I mean, I have a job. I just play disc golf for fun, but I still probably get a good 25 in. So 25 a year in, 20 or 25. So Germ, take it easy over there, Germ.
Yeah, we can see that video. Hi, by the way. Good to see you again.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Our food is ready and is ready to
Jeremy,
eat.
thank you for stopping by.
So much. Yeah, really appreciate the invite. This is a great thing. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and I told you I'd get you out in 10 minutes, and I honestly just forgot because I was enjoying talking to you. Sorry about that. Thanks for stopping by on your
I'm
holiday.
glad you got to enjoy talking to everybody.
Yeah. Thank
10
you,
minutes.
guys.
10 minutes in Jeremy's story time is like 45 minutes in everyone else's world. So
yeah, cool. Thanks, man.
Merry Christmas, Jeremy.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Brad. I wish we had more time to chat, but we'll catch you next time.
See you, Jeremy.
All right, see you, man.
Scott, I'm going to head out too, give you guys some screen room and go play with my son.
All right, cool, man. It's good to see you too.
Thank you for the opportunity.
90s. Thanks, man. We're going to talk some 90s disc golf with Brad.
See you, Pat.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. So, Brad, I'm going to show you something. This is the next set of videos I'm doing, but I'm going to hold this away from the camera because I don't want it to spoil anything. But this right here, I'm going to do it really fast, all right? This right here is the list. Oh, wait, the wrong list. Give me that list over there. The one on top. I made a ranking of, I got the top 30 finesse players, top 30 power players, and top 30 putters of the 90s. And I'm going to spoil it. You're on one or more of those lists.
Oh, nice. All right. I'll take that.
Yeah. But you're not going to get it's really cool. So we got to play in the 90s. That was a different era, right?
So I was thinking today, actually, when I met you, or when I remember watching you when I was somewhat still new to the game, it was at Cincinnati Worlds when you were in the final 9. Do you remember that at Avon Creek with your final 9 shot off the water?
Yes, I do. I remember that very much.
Yeah. So I haven't been back there in years and years and years, but I was thinking back to that. And honestly, you are the one that got me sponsored by Discraft, I believe. Because I believe you were the team captain back then. And I think Ben Bott and I were both in Peoria, maybe somewhere. And you approached us. I think you approached us both. And so, yeah, dude, you're like the reason that I've been around Discraft so long. So huge props to you.
Well, I appreciate that. So what happened was, and I wrote about this in my book, but when I came up with an idea for Jim Kenner at Discraft, which was to create the first real sponsored team in the sport. And the idea was, as I said, we need the best players that we can get from every single region. Now, we couldn't get all of them. I mean, Ken was with the end of we couldn't get Barry to jump over, right? So there were some people we couldn't get, but the idea was we want the top players in every region, because back then it was mostly regional play, right? And my belief is that people cared what Timmy Gill threw more than what Ken and I threw if you lived in Minneapolis, right? Because he was the legend in Minnesota. And so, yeah, you were the person, like, I know you were newer, but I remember that it was obvious you were going to be a top player. So it was an easy call.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I didn't get to see you very much because you were bouncing I don't know, dude. You bounce around more than anyone I know. And then you just disappeared for like, what, 10 or 15 years. And it's funny to see all these new players start to learn who you are. I started doing some YouTube videos, and I had some guy that you apparently gave lessons to that was like wanting to fight me over how I said you should do a sidearm versus how you said it. And he was like, Scott Stokely said, you do not do that. And I'm like, bud, like, okay, man, like, calm down. So you're creating a little a little cold.
Whoever that is, I like him. Thank you, by the way, whoever you are, for having my back and trying to fight Brad.
Oh my God, it was funny. It was good stuff. So anyway, so where are you at? What are you doing?
We are in. Okay, so I just finished recording my audio book for my autobiography. The audio book is done, recorded. Will McCaskill at the Last Cash podcast and Marcus Rogers did they did all the audio recording. It's being engineered. It'll be out in a week. Now we're on our way to Atlanta and then off to Raleigh. So we're actually in Gatlinburg, Tennessee for a week, just taking a break in the mountains.
Right on. Awesome.
You know, that's life, you know. I'm on tour forever now. I don't have a storage unit. I don't have a mortgage, a home base. Everything that we couldn't take with us, we threw away or put in storage. And we're just on the road permanently now, me and my girl. So
are you gonna?
Hey, what's up, Will?
I was just looking at Kevin McCoy's comment. Who cut down the tree in Cincy? Not this Brad.
No, not that Brad. It was no. This is public knowledge. It's a public knowledge, but that's a downer. So we don't want to rehash that. Yeah. But let's say this. So players went.
Leave it to Kevin.
So players went. What? Yeah, only Kevin. Oh, Kevin McCoy, the only person I know that has streaked a PDGA players meeting at a PDGA tournament.
Between Kevin and Critter, I wish this was like the rated R version of this, but it's Christmas. So
any other day of the year. Hey, Kevin, we sent you a link for you to log on and join us. Hey, Christy.
Tell him to come on. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, come join us. And there's Ben Bott. Yeah, Ben and Brad were the two top players in that region, along with Kevin. Let's not forget Kevin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Kevin, don't leave him out. He'll be stalking you forever.
Hey, so Kevin Stewart he might have been the best putter like from 50 feet out in the history of the game. That guy it was stupid, and he was a good putter from the circle. But I mean, from 50 feet out, he threw in I would never teach anybody to do it the way he did it.
Nothing he did. He footballed it every time and then said it was legal and argued with you, and God love him. And then he had, he got 11th at Worlds in South Bend. That was my first Worlds. And I remember
video froze up. Wait, where? Oh, there he goes.
Mine did?
No, you're good now.
Okay.
Don't say his name. He appears like Beetlejuice.
No, I was saying Stewart actually got 11th at Worlds in South Bend. That was my first pro Worlds. So he was a player back then. Did you get third there?
I got fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah, I hung in there. So, but as I get older, I misremember things. So in a couple years, it'll be third.
Yeah, probably. I'll always remember Lissaman shooting 17 or 18 under, 17 under at Rum Village.
Yeah. That tournament was. I went back and looked at it, and if you took Rum Village out of the equation, I was like, that was the course out of the four courses, 2 rounds at each course. If you took that course out, I got this thing, you know. I lost. I think I lost by 7 strokes, but I lost by 8 strokes at Rum Village, and I did it by shooting 10 under and 10 under. So I shot 10-10 and lost 8 strokes on that course. It was so silly.
It's crazy it's crazy how the game has changed. Just looking at Worlds, just from back in the 90s and early 2000s to now, it's just. What did we play? 7-8 rounds? 2 a day.
Yeah, 9.5.
Yeah.
Hey, we're sending you another link, Kevin McCoy. We need you on here, 90s Kevin.
He's a mess. If he's on a Mac, he'll have to download. I had to download a little StreamYard thing. So.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So Kevin. So let's talk about Kevin like he's not here, and then when he joins in, we'll pretend we weren't talking about him. So what do you hate about Kevin McCoy the most? I'm just kidding.
I met Kevin at Cincinnati Worlds in 90. Was that 98? Cincinnati Pro Worlds. I think it was Cincinnati Pro Worlds. And he was pretty arrogant. He was cocky, But he was good, and he could back it up. So
I am, Brett. Yeah, no, I think Kevin, and again, I'm having to date this when I was competing with everybody, but Kevin was the best wind golfer I had ever played with.
Yeah.
If there was a World Championships and it was howling wind, I put my money on Kevin to win that World Championships even in the 90s. if it's howling every day. I went to a tournament in Tulsa one time, and I remember going to the tournament and thinking, I played my game. I played well. I played solid. I didn't screw anything up. And I think I lost by like 9 or 10 strokes to him. But that's 9 or 10 strokes when I feel like I played well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't give anything away. I can't think of any big mistakes I left out there. And he was so good in the wind. It was just stupid.
Well, and he had no sidearm either. So he was doing everything with old school turnovers. And that, I mean, I don't think he had a sidearm. I don't remember.
Yeah. he saw Kevin McCoy win the Frizz in a gorilla suit.
I remember that too.
Yeah. And then
I do.
All right. Hey, I got some. Oh, here we go. We have a guest about to come on. If it's Kevin, let's pretend we were saying nice things about him. It is. Wait a second. It is. All right. We're going to add him to the stream. I saw the name.
There he is.
Kevin McCoy.
I'm hanging out with my friends for Christmas right here. I figured
You got a bad connection, Kev.
Yeah, the connection's slow. It's real choppy.
It looks like he's at Paw Paw in the barn.
He's in a barn.
I'm out. I'm in my chicken coop. I hear my friends.
You're in the chicken coop, really? With that accent, you're in the chicken coop. Shocking. No. Hey,
Dude,
if there's a bad connection, we can keep talking about him.
Yeah, you're bad, Kev. You got. It sounds like you're in.
Try again.
That's
go. Nina Fo-Fi Trey. I have no idea what that means.
9453. That's his PDGA.
Oh, 9453. Oh.
Any better?
The sound.
Maybe the outside's not going to work.
Yeah, you might go inside where you have internet, bud.
Say goodbye to the chickens.
Oh
all right,
God.
bye, Jake.
Oh, God.
That's something you're not going to see on the 2020 tour. Players with chickens in their backyard. Nice hand. Kevin, he's classic.
Are you playing next year? Are you going playing on tour? Or are you going to just be?
I got some big announcements. Yeah, I'm playing full time now, so I'm playing. I'll be playing a ton of tournaments next year, and I got something really, really cool. And I've been told I can't announce it yet, but there's something really cool happening that I'm excited about. There's Kevin again.
What's up?
Let's see if the internet's better.
What's up, Kev? And he's frozen.
Let's keep talking about him.
Maybe turn your camera off. It might speed up your connection. I don't know.
So we get audio at least.
Yeah, because we got to just hear his stories.
Yeah.
Use my phone.
Maybe I should use my wife's phone. It's better.
You're actually okay now. That's better.
All right. I'm inside. I'm getting a little better reception. I'm closer to the router and everything, so I should be all right. Who knows?
I got you. And you're in Georgia, but what town in Georgia?
A little town called Sonoya. It's where they filmed The Walking Dead. It's a little movie town, a little 1,500 people in our town, but it's a really cool little town. My wife moved me down here from Oklahoma. It's been a pretty cool little place.
Yeah, I by complete coincidence, we got 3 Okies on the show out of the 16 guests.
Well, you know where to go. We all rule.
So I told Brad that I thought that you were the best wind player I'd ever seen in the 90s.
Well, that may have been true in the 90s, but now I am so soft in the wind. Since I've lived in Georgia, I mean, we have no wind here at all. Every time I go back to Oklahoma, I'm like a fish out of water. It's hilarious.
Yeah. All right. Someone wants to hear a Mitch Mack story.
Mitch Mack story.
Tell the one where he was in the bushes and he went to like go putt and he like backed into. He told me one where he just like whacked all the trees down or something. I don't know.
That's a Clint McClellan story. That's a Clint story.
Right,
actually, congrats to the Clint McClellan. He just got inducted to the Oklahoma Disc Golf Hall of Fame this week, or last week. So the McClellans are great. Really, McClellans were. Mitch was my mentor. He's who I toured around with. Anytime he said, let's go, I was ready to jump in, go anywhere he wanted. One time he took us down to this place in Texas, the Snow Farm, for the Texas State Doubles Championships. And is this PG radio here, TV? Or
PG-13, it's Christmas.
Okay, so we're playing around and we're looking around and there's cow patties everywhere. And it comes up out of cow patties, right?
Right.
Yeah, so after the round, he's like, Kev, I'll be right back. So after the round, he picks, probably 2 to 3 pounds worth of mushrooms. And so when we're playing poker that night, he brings them in there, dumps them on the poker table, still have a bunch of slimy cow turds on it and everything, and he just grabs up and takes a big old handful and puts it right in his mouth. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's my partner right there for doubles. Just eating a bunch of mushrooms. He found out a bunch of cow patties. So sure enough, we're a mess, but we somehow won the tournament. But obviously him partying all night, he kind of got lapsed in the mind, and we're driving back to Oklahoma. We're in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Hadn't seen a street light in 30 minutes. Hadn't seen anything. And he looks over and says, Kevy, we just ran out of gas. And of course, it's wintertime, and so it's dark. We're literally sitting in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And sure enough, he's like, well, let's get somebody to get us some gas. And literally, so about 30 minutes later, somebody pulled over and we gave him $20 to go get us some gas. They came back. But that trip right there alone, that was a crazy, crazy trip. We got kicked out of a hotel that weekend. Because we were playing Metallica at 3 o'clock in the morning. We rolled in the parking lot. Every trip with Mitch Mack was an adventure, and we literally could have been in jail just about every time that we went on our road trip together. Yeah,
go ahead.
My favorite part about going to trips with Mitch Mack to Texas, anytime we ran a trophy and we came back across the Oklahoma border, right when we got to the Red River, he'd pitch it out the window and say, I don't want any damn Texas trophies in my house. I just want their money.
I heard that. I think he still does that, right?
I wouldn't doubt it. So my
favorite
that goes in his house.
So my favorite McClellan story. These are brothers, Mitch and because we got a lot of new people. Mitch and Clint McClellan. The players back in the 80s and 90s were. They're better golfers today. They were more interesting back then. And my favorite story, Clint McClellan was at Oktoberfest. And you've heard this story because you've been to Oktoberfest a bunch of times. I was an eyewitness to this story. So Saturday night at the players' party, Clint is standing in the kitchen with we had a bunch of witnesses. So God's honest truth, not a word exaggerated. Someone says, Clint, you need to eat that moth right there. And Clint says, if you catch the moth, I'll eat it. So next thing you know, we're chasing this moth. It's all around the house, the kitchen to the living room, back and forth. Finally, and I kid you not, Clint says, don't worry, the moth will come to me. And he holds out his hand, and the moth flies straight down into his hand. He throws in his beer and drinks it. So that's earlier in the night. So, hey, what's up, Michelle? Got your shirt on. And then so later that night, we're all staying at Harvey's house, and Clint passes out on Harvey's couch, and in the middle of the night he wakes up and somehow stumbles out to go to the bathroom. For whatever reason, he goes to the front yard to use a tree out front. So he stumbles out to the front yard, takes a leak on the tree out front, wanders back in, passes out on the couch of Harvey's next door neighbor.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know this story. It's a true story. Yeah. Harvey had never even met his neighbor. The neighbor had just moved in and woke up the next morning to find a stranger on his couch. Yeah, so that's Clint. Clint and Mitch are the best. Clint also won second at World Championships. That guy was as good as Mitch was. I think Mitch will tell you Clint was better. Hey,
don't leave out Johnny Mac too. John McClellan was a great golfer too.
Oh, and yeah. I mean, and then Convers and Hatfield and Jennifer Allen. I mean, Oklahoma's for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it makes there's nothing else to do there.
The thing is, if you can play golf in Oklahoma, you can play golf anywhere. I mean, it's so windy, and you got to learn how to play in so many different elements that your game travels. That's pretty much what it is. I got to say, I'm a big fan of Brad Schick. I mean, he's one of my favorite players. I'm really nice. I got to stop and play around with Brad a couple years ago at Allen Park, and dude is a stud, man. I just love playing golf with Brad. We got on the Discraft team on the same time. Matter of fact, I heard you talking about him picking you up, Brad, and he picked me up about the same way, about the same time. And, Discraft gave me my opportunity to be a disc golfer. I mean, they put me in an RV and.
Yeah, you were one of the first few people to go on the road. I mean, you were hitting it hard. Who are you with? Did you go with
I spent some time with Carlo Pell, Ray Johnson, Chris Vilmorin, Carrie Burlogger for a couple of years. Burl was my favorite touring partner. She's great. Hope she's doing well out there. I know she is. So anyway, but man, getting to hang out with Brad, he's just A1 person. We used to go out to Memorial. That was the people I wanted to hang out with, all those Ohio crew. Good bunch of people out there.
Yeah. I was telling Scott before you got on, I think when I met you was Cincinnati Worlds. And was it you that came up with Fluke? Was that your
no, that was actually Mitch Mack.
Okay.
That is a hilarious story about Jim
Stilgenbauer. Doesn't even remember that. But Jim Stilgenbauer, he got two. He's from Cincinnati, and no one really knew who he was because he lived in Cincinnati and he was new to the game. And he got 2 aces. Was it in the same round, Kev?
Yeah, it was the first round. He smoked Climo by 5 strokes and was in the lead of the world. And we're like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. He got 2 aces in the same round at Miami. I think it was in Miami. And he was in the lead. And Mitch Mack, from this day, we still refer to Stilgenbauer as Fluke. And he gets so pissed because Mitch Mack called him the Fluke. This guy's a fluke. Like, he just had a hot round. He lives there. And I think Jim finished in, I think it was like top 10. Yeah, it was something like that. And so then the next
back-to-back years.
Yeah, he went the next year. He went to New York and Rochester and did it again. And there's still so many people that don't have any clue who Jim is. And he's a great player, and he just doesn't really play anymore. But that's just I always thought it was you. I couldn't remember who did it.
He does the best Snoop Dogg too, man. Oh my God,
he does. Yeah.
That's cool. So hey, we have another guest coming on.
I'm hopping.
You taking off, Brad?
Yeah. I'll sit on for a second, but yeah, go ahead. I'll stop talking.
No, I appreciate you stopping by. This is the person who is the head of the PDGA Hall of Fame committee, Andi Young.
So do we need to promote you, Scott?
Yes, Scott, you may do that.
It's ridiculous if Scott's not in. Come on. Hey, Andi, how you doing?
Oh, she's gone.
How are you?
There she is.
Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Brad. How are you guys doing? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're head of the Hall of Fame committee. Like, what exactly is your role there? I mean, I know you're the person on top, but what do you do?
Well, let me clarify a few things for you guys. The Disc Golf Hall of Fame is actually an independent entity that has had a very long-standing relationship with the PDGA. The PDGA has been nothing but supportive and has helped the Hall of Fame do everything it's done all these 20 years, but it's actually always been independent of the PDGA. So it's not a committee. It is the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. And ironically, as we speak, it is now officially a legal entity and on the verge of becoming a nonprofit. And we're hoping that'll be achieved for the first of the year.
That's cool. Congrats.
Thank you. It's been a heck of a year, this first year taking over for Speedy. I mean, he laid unbelievable groundwork. And of course, you guys, it originated with Levon Wolf back in 1993. And each year the Hall has grown by, you know, 2s and 3s. This year was tremendously challenging, being the first year as the new administrator. Early last year, I decided I couldn't do this by myself. And in my year, 2018, I was inducted with Jay Yeti and Reading, yay, and a gentleman by the name of George Stappenfield. And Scott, I think you are probably familiar with George, and other disc golfers are learning more about him, but George is actually the one that kind of planted the disc golf seed in Ed's head back in the Whammo day. So he kind of went under the radar for many, 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 many years. And then here he came, and Jim Palmieri nominated him in 2018, and he was elected with my class. And he came on board with me last year to take on the new administration for the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. And my God, what a year. What a year.
I can only imagine. So yep. I've got a question for you. So you are in this new movement of the ball golf, disc golf hybrid. You yep. own and manage a successful disc golf and ball golf hybrid course in Houston, which I've played.
Yep. Yes, you did.
And that is going really well. That's the last time I heard. Well, I saw you earlier this year.
Yep. Changed my game. Yeah,
that's beautiful. So what's going on at the course? I mean, do you have any plans? I mean, what is the future hold that down there? Well, plug the
Reader's Digest story. Spring Valley Golf and Disc Golf, Spring, Texas. The Reader's Digest story is in 2004. The owner contacted me, wanted to know if I thought disc golf. He had been hearing about this disc golf, and he had this little 9-hole golf course, and invited me out. Wanted to know if it would work on his golf course. So I went out there, and it's a little executive length course with par 3s, par 4s, and only one par 5. And I looked out there, and I said, yeah, this could run a concurrent course, no problem. But then the surrounding the course was all this wooded area, and I said, what's going on in there? Who owns that? And he says, I do. And I said, well, that's where your disc golf course is. So I designed a 9-hole power course on the golf course and an 18-hole finesse layout in the wooded perimeter, and set him up with some of the vendors, getting some inventory at his little shop. And in 2007, it was overwhelming for him because he just didn't really know what he was doing. And my husband, Don, and I took over the pro shop. We just leased that space, and he would come to me after the first year or so, and he was like, your check's bigger than mine. And so 2010, he decided that he was going to sell the entire golf course. And Don and I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was like, oh my God, we have to do this. And so we bought it. We've had it since 2011. The area where we are is in the path of progress. It's just been amazing what's happened. And it was slow growth, but then the irony of the perfect storm of a pandemic and owning a business that has social distancing built in. I mean, it has been the roller coaster of all roller coasters this year. So we are very blessed. It's been a good year. We've kept, I have all my employees. Everybody's employed. Everybody's worked really hard, actually. And yeah, we're doing great. We're excited about the future and educating and just bringing in the recreational player. The recreational market is just so huge. And that's what we're concentrating on.
That's awesome. I love it. So I got to give a quick shout out, Andi, to a friend of yours, real close friend of mine. So the thing about going out on tour is that it takes a village. There is always people behind it. It's not just sponsors, but it's the people that put you up, especially in the early days when there was no money. It's the people that like so many people step up to help you out. And there has been one person this year who has stepped up more than anybody, like, outside probably of Discraft, who's put time and effort into promoting me, and it's Michelle Deering, Game of Throws. That's why I chose on Christmas to wear Michelle's shirt.
You see my necklace? You see what I have on?
Oh, you have the game. Okay, so you have Michelle. So yeah, Michelle Deering. She has these beautiful necklaces. Oh, that's so. I'm so happy you wore that, Andy.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, if you guys have noticed my tutorial videos, the content I think has always been good, but it never looked good because I was trying to do it myself. If you notice, my content now looks professional. That's because of Michelle. Michelle has stepped up, and it's just. I love you so much, Michelle. Thank you for everything you've done this year, and we're gonna have a great year next year. So, Michelle Illustrations. I'm sorry, I'm trying to sell somebody, but Michelle Illustrations.
Yep, that's her.
That's her. If you need any type of video work, photography, graphic design, contact Michelle Deering. So,
that's been her concentration for all the years that I've known her. When I met her, she was just starting out in disc golf and her career, and that was, oh my God, I want to say 25 years or so now. So you can imagine how good she's gotten at it. Yep.
She's really good. All right, so let's back up before the course. So you had something to do with putting in 1 or 2 courses around Houston, right?
You could say that. 1 or 2, 30, 40.
30 in the same
There used to
town.
be only like 6 in Houston. Now there's a whole mess load.
Yes, we have, I mean, from Galveston to north of Spring, Conroe area, we probably have 70 something courses in the area. When I moved here in 1989, I was transferred here. I was in Michigan. You guys know I was in the Midwest for a short blip where I played in the Final Four in 1989 in Iowa with Chris O'Cleary, Amy Becken, Elaine King, and myself.
Wow, that's good too.
And went to that Worlds. Gail McCall and I went together. And then immediately upon returning from that Worlds, I knew that we had been transferred to Houston, Texas. And I was really disappointed because there was absolutely no place to play in Houston, Texas. I came from outside, New Orleans area. I used to have to drive all the way to Austin or Victoria or Shreveport before I got to another course. So moving here in 1989, questing the world title in 90, I could see it. But that wasn't to be. It was to go back and found out I was pregnant. And so it was all about grassroots. And now you see what's happened.
I love it. So we have another guest that has joined in. I'm going to bring him on in a second, but I want to give him a prop. You take it off, Kevin?
You want me to check out? I'll get out of here. I got to go get to the family.
Thank you, Kevin, for coming by.
Give your family hugs, Kevin. Tell Courtney
it's great seeing you all. Love you guys. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. All right, so Andy, before we bring this person, actually, no, let's not bring him on yet. I'm going to make him wait for just half a minute. But I want to give you props for something, because if you're a newer player, when you think of a disc golf course going in, it's a lot of times is the state park says, we need a disc golf here. Where can we find baskets? Who's going to design our course? Mm-hmm. Back when you were putting courses in, and you and many, many other people that have built this sport, you would basically be at the Parks and Rec department pounding on their door saying, I want to put a disc golf course in. First, they said, what the hell is disc golf? And then when you explained it to them, they said no. And then when you convinced them it was a good idea and they said maybe, the neighbor said absolutely not. And you had to battle to get these courses in. So I want to hear about those early courses but I want to bring on someone to listen to the story because he's a top player. So I'm going to bring him in briefly, but then I want to hear about the early days of trying to get a course in, okay?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So we have joining us is USDGC champion from a couple years ago. And before I bring him on, he is also somebody that on a recent podcast, Eagle McMahon and Simon Lizotte were debating who is the best putter in the world right now. And it was a very close call, but he was in the conversation with someone named Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki, and him were the 3 people that were tossing around as the best putter in the world. It is James Conrad.
James.
Hey, everyone.
James.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Hey, man, thank you so much. It really means the world to me that you came. Hang out for 1 second, because I was asking, I think you probably heard, I want to hear from Andy about what it was like trying to get a course in the early days, because Andy, like the reason our sport exists is because of the tireless work that people like Andy and many people did for no money whatsoever. Like this wasn't a business move you were doing. You were just doing this for love. So
that's right. Literally.
Gotcha.
We would bang. Yeah. The first thing I did when I got to Houston was looked up the nearest park, made some kind of contact, went in, said, you guys need to do this. And they're like you said, what is this? And for years, I would bang on the door and just offer to do anything for free, whatever you wanted. And it was a very, very difficult battle. And then finally, we started cracking some ice. We had the irony of the funny story, the first course that went in the Houston area was actually a little bitty park in a suburb called Missouri City. And we put in we funded, our little core of 7 people funded the first 7 baskets in this, I called it a cow pasture. This Doug Carter was his name. He goes, yeah, I got this little park. You guys could put some baskets in. And he took me out there and it was literally a cow pasture. So we, one by one, we got 8 baskets. And then that was the second year of World's Biggest. And the second year of World's Biggest, John Houck offered, they offered up a 9-hole course to the city in the United States that didn't have a full course in the ground yet. So, yep. And so I said to our little group, I said, wait, let's stop. Don't put in the last basket and let's participate in this. John Powell was here. Becky Powell was here with me.
Wow.
And so Tom Bass, John had been out there. We all got together. He organized it. We had, everybody brought baskets out. We had a 1-day total for that World's Biggest. We got like 400 and something people out there, and we won that 9-hole course. And so what we did before we put that little 9-basket course in is we went back and put the final basket in the Missouri City course to make that one the first official course. And then 2 weeks later, we had the first 9 baskets at Tom Bass, which, as you may or may not know, I think you do. I think you were here for some of the Texas States, and the 2002 World was that became our facility for 2 permanent courses and a temp course where we did Texas States I started that in 1986, and we did that all the way Worlds. Let's see, 4 courses there. I think you were there. And then after that, the Parks director, ironically, we had those outline courses. And then 1987, 1986, the Parks department in Houston, the guy was a little progressive thinking, contacted me and said, Miss Young, could you come to my office and tell me about this disc golf? And so I said, sure. And I went in and started explaining it. And the next thing you know, it's called the Houston Project. If you did Disc Golf Journal, remember the day of Disc Golf Journal, the publication? In the one, I wrote for several of those issues, but the one is called the Houston Project, where we had a project where we installed, had a project to install 8 or 9-hole disc golf courses in inner city parks to get the inner city kids playing disc golf. And we got about 9 of them in before the administration changed, and then things changed a little bit. But then beyond that, it went from me begging to put courses in to today they come to me and say, hey, we want a disc golf course here. And I go, and I say, no, it won't work. So it's gone from that extreme to this extreme. So yeah, we have.
Well, I say thank you, but I'll say you, but also you as a metaphor for all the other yous out there.
Yes.
That did that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So let's break. So welcome James, Conrad, and Jordan.
Yeah. Hi.
Right? Hello.
Yep, that's right.
Thank you guys for joining us, James. So did you see the Eagle McMahon Simon debate where they were tossing you around with Paul and Ricky as the best putter in the world?
I think I missed that one. Was it? I've seen they've done a bunch of those tier list kind of things. Was it one of those?
Yeah, it was one of those, and it's real interesting because the worst putter out of the 32 is still an amazing putter, right?
Yeah.
They're all top. But then to like, Ricky and Paul are a given in that conversation, and then they were both on board with you, and they couldn't decide if you were 1 or 2 or 3. But I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm honored to even be in that discussion. I definitely have my good days. I don't know if I'm the most consistent one on tour. I think on my good days I can hang for sure, but it's definitely an honor to even be in the discussion. Something I've put a lot of work towards, over the years, and I think just playing for as long as I have since I was a little guy, it definitely helps. I don't have to question my form. It's just a matter of convincing myself that I can make them. It's really crazy how much of a mental battle it is. You know, if you want to make it and believe you'll make it hard enough, that's when you can really start making those testers, those outside the circle ones, is when you really believe it.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you're so good at putting that you refer to an outside the circle putt as a tester.
Right.
Back in my day, those were 20-footers were the testers. All right. So I'm gonna be one of those annoying reporters. I'm gonna play here. Let me put on my reporter hat.
Okay.
Just for 1 second. Now that's the reporter hat. All right. So when I told everybody you were coming on, everybody wants to know. It's big news about. Is there any news on what discs you're going to be throwing next year, or are these just rumors?
I've seen quite a few rumors myself. At this point, they're only rumors. I'm a free agent this winter, so I've definitely been having some conversations with some different people, and we're just at an exciting time in disc golf right now. You know, Innova's been huge for a long time, and there's a lot of other companies that are really getting themselves in the mix. I think. I'm not quite at a point in time where I can make an official announcement of which direction I'll be going next year, but you know, if I change, wherever I go, just wants to be ready, wants to have some discs ready to sell with my name on it, ready to do it right, and should probably be within the next 2 or 3 weeks that an official announcement is ready.
I think it's amazing that our sport. I mean, like we're talking about bookends of the sport here with you and Andi.
No doubt.
I'll ask Andi real quick. I mean, did you ever foresee a time where we were having the conversation, you know, about a top player being a free agent and everybody lobbying to get like that in the 80s? Could you have imagined that conversation?
No, absolutely not. No. Right. But now it's so exciting. You get to this time of the year and we all actually tune in. We want to know, okay, who's jumping ship or who's picked up or who's going where. So yeah, it's a whole news cycle on its own. So it'll be exciting to hear.
It is amazing. Well, one of the things you got going for you, James, is that everybody likes you. And no, but that's not that is a huge asset when it comes to this thing, because there are a lot of good players. I mean, there's the top 32 players could all win USDGC next year if they get hot for right. I mean, that's the way the world is now. It's the way sports is supposed to be. You know, so like what sets you apart from those other 32 players, and the fact that, you know, everybody loves you and people enjoy you, and I mean that's a big deal. Like you can leverage that, and I know you're not doing this for business reasons, but you can, and you'll deserve everything you get for sure.
Thank you so much. Those are kind words.
So when I messaged you after USDGC, because I don't think I've seen you since I came back to the sport in 2014. I don't think I've actually seen you at an event, or we haven't talked. And so I congratulated you, and you told me that we had met back in the early, like 2000 or something. Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like the first signed disc that I have, it's back at my parents' house somewhere right now, I think, but I don't know that I personally got it signed from you, but my dad went to Am Worlds in 1999, and I think that was like, he only played 2 Am tournaments. He played one advanced tournament and then played Am Worlds, and then moved on up to Open. But he saw one of your distance showcases or something like that, and got a disc from you and got it signed for me. It was, I think it's got your signature and your distance record. I think this was in 1999. It was on an XL, which I believe you held the distance record with. It was some 240 yards or meters, something like that. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. The thing about it, when you told me that, I love, because when I hear things like that, I'm still connected to the guys on tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but the fact that there's still a connection there, you know, eventually the gap's going to be pretty big. But I mean, that means the world to me that you even told me that. So what are you planning for next year? Are you going to be actually on the road, or the two of you? Or, I mean, are you permanently traveling, or are you home basing it and going to events?
I'm pretty much permanently traveling. The winter of 2018, I got a big Ford Transit van and kind of built it out that winter. It's been a slow process getting it to where it's at, but it's a pretty cozy little camper van. And Jordan was on the road with me pretty much this whole year. we posted up for a while during some quarantine periods, but we have lots of friends and family spread around that we can sometimes post up at for a week or two here. Like we're at her dad's house right now up in Maryland, visiting her little siblings and her dad for Christmas. So it's nice to be able to settle down for a week or two with family and stuff. But we pretty much stay on the move in the camper van and plan on heading west pretty early in the new year and start really getting ready for next season. We're excited.
That's brilliant.
I want to ask a question, if I may, James.
Sure.
I'm curious to know what it was like for the touring players when you guys on tour and during the quarantines, and how was that?
What's that? Okay, yeah, it was kind of tough. It wasn't. It was crazy in March, when things really hit the fan and we were kind of unsure if the season was going to happen at all or like how long of a break it was going to be. We went to Tennessee. One of our good friends, Weston Isaacs, has a nice place down there that he let us kind of quarantine at we stayed there probably 6 weeks or something, just kind of trying to be as safe as we could, going to the grocery store once every 2 weeks. And that was about all we left. And then, I think I can speak for most of us on tour. We felt lucky to be able to compete at all this year and to do so safely. But it was definitely never felt the same this year to me. Like so much of the energy at a tournament, it comes from the crowd and from the spectators, like, really getting behind us and like feeling involved in the tournament. And like personally, I find it easier to compete well when there's people there watching, like rooting for me to do well. And that's such a big part of it, of that energy. Like this year, even when I made lead cards and stuff, it almost just felt like out there playing casual rounds with, we're friends with pretty much everyone on tour. So it just kind of felt like a casual round where I happened to be playing with Paul and whatnot. So it never quite had the same feel this year. And that's probably, it made it tough for me to really get the same focus level, but I think I still felt lucky to even have the chance to compete this year and to do so safely.
It was weird to see too. It was my first tour at all, and so I didn't even know. I was completely new to disc golf, so it was a completely new experience in the first place. But being in Waco and then them canceling the last day, and then there we are on the second day, and it's the afternoon, and all the European guys have to decide if they're going to stay in quarantine in the US or if they need to get to Europe like now because the borders are closing now. And so, a couple of the guys had rented an RV for the entire summer. They bought all this food and all these supplies and stuff. And they're, they go and return the rental. They're dumping food off in the middle of parking lots and stuff because they don't have anywhere to go with it. They're getting on a plane tonight, I mean, it was a weird time for sure.
It is a weird time. So both you and the three of you, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you have to ditch out because I know you have family and everything. But if you want to stick around, we have another guest coming on. That is.
Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, my granddaughter. It's her first Christmas, 6 months old. My Lily May is coming in. You guys, thank you very much.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I'll watch the rest. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this. It's so meaningful for people, for everyone.
Yeah,
Conrad,
Merry Christmas.
good luck this year. All right,
thank you.
Peace out.
Thank you. So we have somebody coming on that is the very new to the disc golf scene, but I want her to come on. So I'm a big proponent of inclusivity and like all those wonderful things about disc golf being for everybody, and unfortunately that topic somehow gets corrupted and politicized, and it can turn ugly really quick. And so people that are organizing these types of things, sometimes it doesn't go right, not because of them, but just because the world around them is so weird. But I have as a guest Sally Chatman, who started Diversified Disc Golf.
Cool.
And the thing I like about Diversified Disc Golf is that they are adamant about keeping politics out of it and keeping all the things out of it to make it ugly, and just focusing on solutions and what we can do. And so I have become friends with her because I think that her group is like on the right path. So I'm going to bring her on.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
You got it? She's in. Sally. Oops. Hold on.
I was muted. Hi.
Hello.
Oh. Hey, Sally, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. This is really close up on my face. Oh my goodness.
So I think it's really cool that you were able to come. I actually interviewed Sally for a podcast interview, and we're having some just great discussions. But the work you're doing, well, first off, it's not just you. Will you please share the people that are helping out? Make sure that they get called out.
Absolutely. So I actually got together with Rebecca Cox, which was super weird because I'm new to disc golf and she was like my idol. And through the Respect Her Game women's only group, I was only to connect with Rebecca Cox and start all this. And it's been such an amazing journey. And we're only about 8 weeks in and we've been able to accomplish so much. And I'm so excited to see what else we can do with this.
Please let me know if you need more hands.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another mixed race and new to disc golf gal. So.
Well, I also have Heidi Matheson, who is somebody who was literally the first disc golf communication friendship person that I had in the disc golf community that told me, you can do leagues, you can do tournaments, there's so many people you can meet, and she really opened my eyes to disc golf and the socialization that can come with it. And so she is my right hand through all this. And we have a couple other people on board, including Rebecca's parents and my dad. And it's really cool. And I have just the greatest team so far.
That's awesome. And so you have an event coming up. Uh-oh, sound? Can you guys hear? Oh, it muted, I think.
Yeah, I guess my computer's being pretty weird.
Okay, it's better now.
We have our first fundraiser event coming up, and it's been super, super stressful organizing this. But it's not a tournament, but we do have it up on Disc Golf Scene as a disc golf event. For lack of better words, I'm calling it a meet and greet. We're going to have, of course, fundraiser events, pay-per-play putting games where we can putt indoors. It's going to be at the Lexus Velodrome in Detroit, Michigan. It's a bike track, and then it's got, like a running track on the outside. So there's a lot of space. We're going to be capping out at 250 people, and that is at 1/3 capacity. So we will be following COVID guidelines for sure.
Nice.
So check out the tickets, and we're going to be having a large panel discussion where we're going to basically allow the community to ask us any questions that they have. We'd like to share our goals, our mission, our views, our plans. We want to share everything with everybody, and this is like our outcoming to the disc golf community.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, sounds awesome.
It is really neat. So, hey, while I got you guys on, do you have a minute, James? Are you gonna step away, or will you hang in?
Yeah, I got another minute. Another few minutes.
All right. So I had a question that I was saving this is for everybody, all the people commenting. So if you've read my book, I've outlined the first 7 people to tour, the first 7 players to tour. What I did, and that ended with me. So it was all the people up to when I got to go tour. So I had a couple of trivia questions about that. Does anybody know who the first woman to tour was? And by tour, I don't mean going out and traveling and, like taking time off from work, but I mean actually hitting the road, playing disc golf, winning prize money, taking it to a gas station to buy, hot dogs, which is all that was in the 90s. That was living large. Does anybody know who that player was?
Was it Gail?
Nope, not Gail.
I don't know.
By the way, and this is not to put anybody on the spot because nobody knows.
Right.
And I want them to know. It's her name was Nina Neville, and she was from Delaware. And I talked to her and I said I want to make a big deal out of it, and she kind of got shy and said don't make a big deal out of it. So I don't follow directions well. So Nina was the first, and the next was Sue Stevens from Michigan.
Okay, wow.
And I think she's still up in Michigan, Sally. So if you ever talk to her, because she still plays tournaments, she was the second woman to go out on tour. So cool. Hey, I promised you, James, that I would let everybody out off the hook after a certain, a little time, and you stuck around longer than I requested. So you guys are free to go without hurting anybody's feelings. But nice to meet you, both of you.
Yeah,
and
likewise.
We will see you out. I'm going to be at some of the bigger tournaments next year. I got some big plans that I'm about to announce. So I will see you guys out there. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. Sally,
I'd love to connect with I'm
This is
sorry.
Jordan.
I'll find you, Sally Chatman. I'll stalk you on the internet.
Go for it.
All right. Goodbye, guys. Thanks for having me, Scott, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Annie Kreml. No, it was not Annie Kreml. Yeah, it was. So I'm going to, while we got you on, and I don't expect you're new to the sport, so I don't expect you to know any of these, but I'm going to shoot some trivia questions out at everybody. Is that all right?
Go for it.
All right. Does anybody know out there, and comment on this if you guys know, what is the oldest running flying disc tournament? Does anybody know? By the way, I wrote out trivia questions just in case, and now I really want to share. So does anybody know what the oldest running flying disc tournament is? And by the way, Sally, it's in Michigan.
Can I guess too?
Yeah, of course.
Is it Deglo?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. This tournament goes back, the IFT, Jeff Hungerford. You're old like me, Jeff. That's cheating. You are right. It's the IFT, and Billy got it too. So the IFT was a tournament started by the Healy brothers in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And what it was it was a guts tournament at the Healy brothers' birthday party. So it started off as a birthday party event that became a tradition, and then, next thing you know, it's happening every single year. But yeah, it was guts is the oldest flying disc game, flying disc sport.
Hey, Scott.
Yes.
So I was kind of wanting to do something special on your show.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this. Yeah, let's do this.
Our group actually reached 2,000 members as of last night. So I kind of want to give away this 5x Paige Pierce ESPN Nuke.
Yep, you gonna draw random?
Well, yeah. I was thinking you're just doing trivia, so why don't we do a trivia question and see who can answer it first, and we'll just do it like that.
Who's gonna answer it first? We could do that. Okay, here, I got a really tricky question for you. And thank you so much, by the way. Let's see. So the question is, and by the way, the first people to guess this are going to get it wrong. There's now I've sideswiped it. So after Ed Hedrick, the first 4 people to join the PDGA were, in no particular order, Joe Cahow, the top woman player of her era in the 70s, Victor Malafronte, and Dan Roddick. Who is the other person in the first 4 to join? And it's not who you think. Let's see if anybody knows this. Jeff Hungerford might have heard the story.
That's a good one.
It's a tough one, especially as everybody's Googling PDGA membership, and they're going to use Tom Monroe. Nope. Ken Hedrick. Nope. Another Tom Monroe. Nope. Papa Jack. Nope. Oh, it could have been Papa Jack, but it wasn't. This is why it's a trivia question. It is not Victor Malafronte. He was one of the 4. He was PDGA number 2. Aaron Woodley. Bill Randolph got it right. So it's John Kirkland, PDGA number 100. And the reason it's a trivia question is because John Kirkland was one of the first 4 people asked to join the PDGA, and he wanted to keep his IFT number, international, or IFA number, International Frisbee Association number, which was 100. So they gave him number 100, but he was one of the first 4.
So who won that?
Who won that? It was, I'm going to have to scroll down. It was Bill Randolph. So Bill reached out to Sally at Diversified Disc Golf.
I got you.
What? Oh, beautiful. All right, we got Hey, guess what? We're going to be bringing someone else on here. I like to do these surprise introductions. So back when I was playing, there was a player by the name of Steve Weisskopf, who was one of the top players in the world. And Steve Weisskopf, his reputation was among the sport, among a bunch of very true professionals. Steve Weisskopf was called the most professional player in the sport. When I came back to disc golf in 2014, the player I'm about to bring on is a player that I heard referred to as the most professional player in the sport, the player who most exemplified what a pro should be and how they should behave and handle themselves on and off the course. We're going to bring on Paul Ulibarri. I got it. Paul.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, good. Are you blushing?
I am. I mean, that was a crazy good introduction, and after a few years from there to now, hopefully I didn't diminish that reputation that I had. But I appreciate you inviting me on here, man.
I've never heard anything negative. Hey, I got a question. I was doing some trivia questions, and I got a trivia question that, believe it or not, you may not know this, but it might relate to you. So the question is who is the first PDGA members who were non-disc golfers, who were just celebrities, who were given PDGA numbers to try to promote the PDGA? There's two of them, but one of them you're familiar with, for sure.
Bubba Watson?
Nope. That's way later. This is
Way
PDGA
later. Okay,
number. Yeah, it's
I have no clue. That's the only celebrity that I really know that doesn't play that has one.
So it was the answer was it's Ryan O'Neal, who was an actor from the old days, and his daughter Tatum O'Neal. And where Tatum O'Neal is from, her biggest role was she was the pitcher in the Bad News Bears, the original one, the real one.
No clue what that is. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, I thought you played baseball. That is date myself. Didn't you watch movies in 1978? What were you doing in 1978?
I was not alive back then, my friend.
I thought everybody was alive in 1978. Okay, now I'm just confused. My girlfriend wasn't either. So okay, I just got reminded that I'm old. No, that Bad News Bears was a baseball movie from the 70s, or no, it was like 1980. But Tatum O'Neal was the pitcher on that show. Anyways. So Tatum O'Neal made an appearance at a big Frisbee tournament, and Ed Hedrick gave them memberships. So they have number 49 to 50. So cool. Welcome. Hey, are you still in Charlotte?
I am. Yes. Yes.
And are you wintering there, or are you taking off to tour anytime soon? Like, what is your plan?
No, I'm definitely making Charlotte my my home. So I actually just got I'm renting a new condo right now, and so just moved in a few weeks ago with a buddy of mine, and looking for houses and stuff and land, and I want to make Charlotte one of my final destinations.
Yeah, so here's the wonderful thing about Charlotte. You could go to Charlotte and go out to league night. And you could go out and you could shoot the round of your life. You could shoot a 10:38 round at league night and finish 5th place behind Ulibarri, Michael Johansson, Jeremy Koling, and Barry Schultz. But if you're in a town with those 4 players, you're probably going to get better. Thank you, Chris. 1976 Bad News Bears. So all 4 of you are in the same town or town-ish. That's insane. That's 4 top 20 players in the world, top 30 for sure.
No, for sure. The talent in Charlotte is pretty crazy. Well, it's just part of the reason why I wanted to move there. I only heard good things about it, and I would only go there for USDGC and a couple tournaments per year. But every time I went there, I loved it, and I'm more of I feel like as I get older, I'm more lean towards that woods golf, and so going out there, I feel a little bit more comfortable. And I've just been really enjoying it and getting to know, the locals and stuff, kind of getting involved a little bit. But things are going great out here in Charlotte.
So you got an apartment. Does that mean you're not hitting the road touring, but just traveling to tournaments, or what's the plan?
No, I have a full tour next year. I'm doing all national tours, pro tours, and majors.
Gotcha. Okay, I just saw Barry and Nathan Queen play in Cary. Yeah, you got Nathan Queen out there too. That guy
Nathan
came out
Queen,
of nowhere. He's
Dan
so
Hastings
good.
is a really good local as well. Grady Shoes out there. Like, there's a lot of really good players.
It's stupid out there. Well, I always said that the best, and I said this since the 90s, if you're an up and coming player and you want to get good at disc golf and you could choose anywhere in the world to go, in my opinion, it's North Carolina. Because if you can play in North Carolina, you can play anywhere. But there are players outside of North Carolina who can't come to North Carolina and play.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's cool. So you're going to go to all the NT events, and you are with Discraft.
That's right.
And your disc is the
Raptor is my signature disc.
The Raptor signature disc. And so if you guys want to throw a Raptor, always buy the signature discs. I mean, a lot of times it comes in unique plastic, but even if it doesn't, that's a way of supporting the people out on tour by buying their signature plastic. So I'm a huge fan of that. So you were living with Germ for a while.
I was staying with Germ for a while. Let's be careful with living.
Staying at Germ's house.
I was staying in his closet, actually. That's what I called it, because it was just a room with all of his shoes and all of his wardrobe. If you ever notice, like, Germ's always well dressed, matching from hat to shoes, and I was in that room.
Okay. Hey, when I was there, I was on that couch. So I've stayed there. That was recently. So you're touring, you're traveling in Germany. What about the other things besides playing? Tell me about your other gigs, because like you're doing stuff.
Yeah, no, I do a little bit of stuff on YouTube. You can go to obviously YouTube and follow or subscribe to my channel there. I do a lot of stuff with like Jomez and stuff, so I'm active in that, and I give a lot of lessons. I just try to stay active, around everywhere, really.
Yeah, you actually just announced that you're doing lessons in your area.
Yeah.
So and then you do lessons when you're traveling to events before the tournaments?
Not really. No, I don't.
You're more focused.
Well, not really that. I just don't find a lot of time for lessons in the middle between practice, Jomez, and a few other things that I do.
So did you see this 10 years ago, that this is what would be happening with you? I mean, you're like now a media personality.
Yeah, no, not at all. Absolutely not. But I mean, as the sport, I feel like as a player, as the sport progresses, you have to, do what you need to do to progress with it.
Well, you have to. We talked about this. You were on my podcast. I was talking to you about this. And you still have some of your best playing years in front of you, but there's less now than there was 10 years ago in front of you. And so you're diversifying these other areas, which is super smart. You also told me that you can't wait to turn 40 so you can play MP40.
Yeah, that's for sure. It seems like with the older you get, like the more you look, there's some pros that are just stubborn, and they're like, I'm never gonna play age protected division ever, and I'm not like that. Like, I'm like, nope, as soon as I turn 39 or 40, whatever it is, count me in.
I know, that's cool. Well, you'll be a division behind me the whole time since you weren't around for the Bad News Bears. Yeah. So I'll be playing, when you play MP50, I'll be an MP60.
Dang, we barely missed each other, man. I don't know if I'm lucky or you're lucky. One of the two.
Well, the thing about getting older that's so interesting is, like, I'm 51. Like, I'm cream of the crop in MP50. I'm the second highest rated MP50 player in the world right now. And when I'm 59, I'm going to be like at the bottom of the pecking order, because there's such a difference between 50 and 59. Not so much between like 20 and 30, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'm going to lobby for like smaller, like every 3-year gaps. Hey, I'll tell you a funny story. So I was thinking about this. Not that he plays MP40, but when I was younger, I was like, Climo and I are within a few months of each other age-wise, and I kept thinking, really? I'm not even going to get my own division.
Oh my gosh.
So do you know Sally at Diversified Disc Golf? Are you familiar?
Probably not.
I don't think we've met before, Sally. Nice to meet you.
Hi, likewise.
Yeah,
I just love watching you play, by the way. I mean, I'm probably sure you hear that all the time, and I'm just like an AMS player from local Detroit, Michigan, but you're so fun to watch.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. It's always nice to hear from people when they enjoy watching you play, of course.
Well,
Do you
how
play
much
a
more
lot or just on casual?
I actually just started this year, but I've been playing some unsanctioned tournaments and decided to go ahead and get my PDGA number, and I'll be playing way more sanctioned tournaments this coming year.
Oh, love it. Tell me what's your PDGA number? It's always fun to hear, like, if you just got it. Oh my, 150,000. That's crazy. Well, congratulations.
And it's actually gone up like
Yeah.
significantly since then too.
Really?
I think they got to be at like the 1,600,000 now.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
what are you at? What's
That's
your number,
insane.
Paul?
Mine's 27,000, so 27171.
That is old for the Pro Tour.
Yeah, well, actually, mine is very old. Yeah, I usually get the bump now to the upper card whenever I tie with the people. And for the longest time, honestly, early in my career, I remember thinking like, this is so stupid that like just because somebody signed up before me, they get the bump to the next card. And now I just love it.
Right.
I call these the pandemic numbers.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
That's a good point.
Hey, Billy Ashton just posted 2747. I'm 3140, so Billy's got me. Although Jeff Hungerford is going to get us all in a minute if he's still with us. Yeah, I'm sadly outliving the people younger than me, so I'll take my turn.
That's funny.
Hey, I remember in 1998, I was low enough to be on the hole one for the first round of the World Championships because they did it by PDGA number. And in 1998, I was one of the 4 lowest in the open division.
No way.
It's ridiculous. Yes. Yeah, it was me, Dunn and Pace, and people.
I remember that they used to do that once in a while, and I started on hole 16 at one point. So mine was like a brand new number back then.
Yeah, you can almost gauge your career by like it's a curve. Like when you start on 18, and then you get better and better and better. And by about hole 8 is when you're peaking. And then,
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I was lucky. I got my PDGA number probably about 2 months after I started, if that, or a month after I started. So I got it right away.
Well, yeah, you also won the Amateur World Championships a few months after you started. Well, within a year.
Well, like a year, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's if anybody doesn't know the story. So Paul started playing and won advanced at the Amateur World Championships. Like that was your first advanced tournament?
It was my first advanced win. I played a handful of advanced tournaments before that.
Your first advanced win was at Worlds.
Yeah.
There's a bunch, there's people's first tournament. I mean, that's not your first tournament. I got my favorite first story. And I didn't bring it up earlier when something came up because I didn't want to do can you top this? But there was a player in Lewiston. It's either Lewiston or Louisville. I always get it messed up. What's the town in Dallas? Is it Louisville? Is it Dallas? Okay, so it's in Lewiston, New York, outside of Buffalo. And it was in 1993. And back then, they had just started introducing amateur divisions, believe it or not. So there was pro, and then there was amateur, like AM1, and then there was a novice division. And novice was for first-time players. You played novice once and moved up. So basically, there was pro and amateur.
Yeah.
This guy comes out in the novice division, first tournament ever with about half dozen other first-timers in that division. Very first round of the tournament, he aced twice in his first 5 holes of the tournament of his life. And he didn't win. He didn't even win at the novice division. He was that much of a novice. Yeah,
His career started the greatest of anybody ever of all time
in the history of disc golf. He aced 2 of his first 5 holes ever. And the funny thing is, like, that's one of those stories where, like, you only tell that story because there was 100 witnesses. Without witnesses, yeah, sure, that happened. So about 15 years later, I'm caddying for Pat Govang at the Amateur World Championships, and he comes up to me and he's still playing, still an amateur. Yep.
Oh, that's
So,
hilarious. It happens, man.
I
You
know.
better be careful. Don't hit your career move 5 holes in. Kind of let it, even out for the remainder of your next 10 years.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine what he's thinking. Like, oh my God, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Yep. It was at
Oh, that's
Joseph
funny.
Davis, Crystal. Yeah, Lewiston. Yeah, Joseph Davis Park. Great little course out there. It was the Can-Am finals, believe it or not. It was even like a not
that
a
was a big
major
tournament back then.
It was a big tournament. Yeah, it was the finals of the biggest series. Yeah, it's I know exactly. It's how sad after that. It's just like you can't top that. I bet he was even mad the second round. He didn't get a single ace the second round. He's probably like, what?
He's just waiting.
Like,
Isn't this just what happens?
To everybody. Oh my God. So a couple questions. I mean, I'm gonna give you some generic questions. Favorite? What do you have? Do you have a favorite tournament? Do you have one that stands out?
I actually, I love playing in Vermont at the Smuggler's Notch courses. Those are probably my favorite 2 courses to play. Therefore, probably my favorite tournament.
Those are your favorite 2 courses to play, also.
Yeah.
What about least favorite?
Least favorite? Oh, I played a doozy a couple weeks ago. I literally played the worst hole I've ever played in my life. Somebody did it. Somebody designed the worst hole ever of all time. I won't say the course because I don't want to put somebody on blast, but I remember after the hole being like, that's officially the worst hole I've ever played. Ever.
Message me later.
I feel like I've had one of those before already.
Yeah. Like sometimes you're just like, wow, that was just like the worst. No, I mean, for the most part, like when you're really competitive and you're playing a tournament, like I don't feel like there's really a bad course to compete on because they all have like their own little, niche of whatever you're just trying to play better than the next person. But I mean, there's definitely courses that I wouldn't play, period. I don't play a lot of casual rounds. I'm sure the same with you, Scott. If I'm playing, I'm usually practicing for a tournament or playing a tournament.
Yeah, I never. I'll almost 3 or 4 practice rounds a year, and that's not even practice rounds. That's just because I'm playing with a friend. I never play that. And you're right about the courses. The funny thing is, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I would rather play a 150-foot, 0 obstacle, wide open hole than the most beautiful, gorgeous hole in the entire world where luck is a factor.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, definitely.
You agree? I mean, some of the most beautiful courses out there, and I love the courses. I enjoy playing them. But if 100 yards down the fairway you have 3 trees and a couple 6-foot wide gaps, it's not a good hole. I mean, well, it's like, let me rephrase that. It's not a hole that I enjoy, and I would rather play that hole, but I'd rather compete on a hole that's wide open, just because luck is my pet.
Unless you get through and then your competitors are all plinking off trees. That part's super fun. I love that hole. My favorite hole.
Well, the only thing I like about lucky courses is the only thing I really do like about lucky courses is that stuff doesn't bother me and I don't get upset. So it is kind of funny to watch someone have a meltdown when they have equally bad luck to you. But if they can't handle it, they just lose their, hey, we have another guest here. I wonder who this is going to be. This is so cool. I can't believe this is. Oh my God. All right. So I'm going to bring on, I always like to do a little introduction. This is really cool. I'm so excited. This is a player. Okay. So you know. Yeah. And by the way, feel free to take off anytime. I appreciate you. I know it's the holidays. But I got a player. He's a USDGC champion. He is, if you made a list of the several best teachers in the sport, he would be on just about everybody's list. And he might be a rival of yours when it comes to most professional player on tour. I would go out on a limb here and say not a single person doesn't like him. Competitors, fans, you name it. And it's Nate Sexton.
Oh, I can't stand that guy.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to bring him on.
All right.
Holy cow, Nate.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming by. I really, really appreciate it, man. You are one of my favorites. As I constantly, throughout the years have written you on Facebook every time you win, and I'm like, yay, I'm so happy for you.
I wish I could help you more often. I'll try.
We got a little bit. It's a little choppy.
Oh shoot! It said something to me about how my version of Safari might have some audio issues. So hopefully it's okay.
Oh, we're a little bit choppy again. Let's see. It's coming in and out.
Shoot.
I can hear. I can hear
everybody
you
just
good.
fine.
Can you?
Good.
Maybe it's me.
Good.
So
All right.
where are you right now?
I'm at home sitting on the couch.
What city though?
Olympia, Washington.
You are in Olympia, Washington.
Yep,
And
I got a Christmas tree.
Beautiful. And there with the family?
Yep.
So who was the other person? I saw someone on camera a minute ago.
It was Coraline, my daughter. There she goes.
Yep.
Hey,
Hey,
guys,
Coraline.
I'm actually gonna I'm actually gonna leave. It was really great to see you guys. Nate, good to see you.
You
Sally,
too, man.
really nice to meet you.
Feel free to
Keep
join my
competing,
group.
yeah.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck in your next tournaments and everything. Scott, thank you for inviting me. This is awesome for you to do, and
Yeah,
for
thank you.
whoever's
We'll see. I'm
listening
going to
out
be in
there.
Charlotte.
Merry
I'm going to be in
Christmas.
Charlotte in a few weeks.
Okay,
I'm
look me up.
Yeah, I'm challenging you and Jeremy to a practice round, and I'm going to broadcast it live. So,
Love it.
thanks
All right.
a lot.
Nice.
See you guys.
See you, dude.
Cool. Yep. And then, and we got another person. So someone just logged in, but we're going to give him just a minute before I bring him in. So Nate, what are your plans for this year? I mean, are you touring? Like I haven't heard your agenda. What are you doing?
Man, it's this annoying thing, COVID. If you guys have heard of it, it's pretty annoying, and it's that's kind of got me in limbo. So my plan is to play as much as I can, but it's always with the caveat that if the governor tells me I shouldn't be traveling, I probably won't travel.
Right.
So,
Fair.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I'm Vegas is a super high priority for me since being defending champion and it being an big Innova event and the kickoff for the Pro Tour this year. So if there's any way I can be in Vegas, I'll be there. And I think I probably will. I mean, I'm even going to, even if I have to drive there, whatever it takes to get there and maybe be able to do that in sort of a safe way. So that's a huge priority for me, but obviously if COVID numbers are like through the roof, then probably the tournament will get canceled anyway. So who knows, but I want to play as much as I possibly can. I can't wait to get back out there and be competing on the national stage, working with Joe Mez. I'm looking forward to working with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, hopefully getting some more of this ESPN stuff going. It's an exciting time for sure. And I just want my wife has her first shot of the vaccine on Tuesday. So,
did she? Fantastic.
Yeah, well, she hasn't had it yet. It's coming on Tuesday. So
yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah, maybe hopefully it's the beginning of the end, and we can move past this.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. So I got to tell a story about you that I've told to a lot of people that I think is really neat. Because I was just saying earlier that I love that I'm old, but I'm still young enough that I have a connection to the top touring players in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sally. And so when I quote met you, there's a reason for the quotes. Out in Athens, Georgia, I went up and introduced myself, and you said to me something along the lines of, you said, hey, you said, actually, we've met before, and you said, I've been waiting 13 years to thank you. And the story you told, you said that you had been playing disc golf for 2 weeks. You didn't know anybody who played. You were out at the course in Corvallis, and you saw a poster for my clinic up on the board, and that you came to my clinics 2 weeks after you started playing. You said you didn't know anybody, you didn't talk to anybody, and you said you've been waiting 13 years to thank me, and you stuck your hand out, and it just was like, after being gone for so long, to come back and to hear that after I came back, it really meant a lot to me, Nate.
Well, man, it's true. I can't remember the specifics as far as, I feel like maybe it was longer than 2 weeks, but I don't know. I know I went there with my dad. Like, we hadn't been playing long, like short enough that you were the first person that I saw do the X step.
Right.
So it's like, that's how new and like, I'm not sure we were. It was probably, I think it was 2001 in Corvallis, Oregon. I'd probably never seen anyone throw a disc 400 feet. And then there you were hauling it off 500 feet. And my brain fell out the side of my head right then and there, like age 15. And I was just like, okay, whatever disc you got, I need to buy that, and I need to practice this footwork. And like, disc golf got so much more fun that very next day because I knew what I might be able to learn how to do. Where it was before YouTube, it was before any of that. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I can throw it far, I think. And then you came and I was like, I can't even throw anymore. I don't even know anything. Now that I've seen this guy, this is a whole nother level. And the other thing that I'll never forget from that day is before you even did distance throwing, you had a basket, got it out of your van, and you put it out. And I remember the first thing you did was walk to I would say 80 feet. I'm not even sure. And you went way over there and you said something about, from this range, you're not trying to make every shot. You're just trying to get it close. And you threw one and it went in. And it was another moment of just like, what is even happening? Yeah. So first experience I ever had with an elite disc golfer. And I mean, we didn't even have a casual professional in my town. It was like only AMs. So
right.
to see what you were able to do with the disc, I mean, hard to overstate how much that maybe has to do with my career trajectory after that, just to be able to be like, just how excited I got, who knows, without that experience, who knows where I'd be, it's like, I can't say. So super formative thing for me, just to see the skill that you had and still have, but just absolutely blew my mind to see the things that were possible.
That, that means so much to me. And that, when I hear that from people, it just blows my mind, and it just means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
well, hey, I know you have family, and I promised I wouldn't keep you long. You can hang out for sure. I'm not getting rid of you, but I got someone else to bring on, and that'll, if you wanted to sneak away, that would give you your out. If you want to hang out, we'd love it. So I have a player who is, if there's proof that age is just a number, well, I guess Barry Schultz may be one of those. So there's a few out there, but he is the 3-time world MP50 champion, but he just won an Open Division A tier at 57 years old, which I'm going to say it's a record, and without even asking, that's never been done before. And the craziest part is he may win others. So Ron Convers is here.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I'll say hi to him, but
yeah, I know you guys are family.
Oh boy.
Oh, we just lost him. There he is. Hey, yeah, no, I know you got your family there, and I appreciate everything they come back.
That's all good. It was 58, by the way.
You were 58?
Yeah, it was my birthday weekend.
You don't look a day over 62.
I'm sure that reciprocate that.
Hey, it's really the really funny thing. Ron's another one that just everyone. What? We're getting some loud feedback somewhere.
I'll go on my way in case it's my fault. But Merry Christmas, Ron.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Hey, thank you so much for coming by. It really means the world to a lot of people. Thank you, sir.
See you guys.
Thank you. Okay, Ron.
Oh, there I am.
There you are. So real funny story. So we did a charity match, a head-to-head charity match back in July, and I called. Hold on, is your there's something going on? There's feedback coming from your phone. Maybe.
I actually went out, so I'm sort of surprised.
Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't know what's. Let's see. It's just echoing, but it's coming. Do you have? Is it just? Are you just on your phone, or is there someone else there listening also next to you?
Went out and sat in the car.
Gotcha. Well, then I don't know what's got. Well, hey, we'll just do our best. So the funny thing was, we did our challenge match, and we were going to make all these videos to promote the match. And I told everybody that, when we talked about it, that let's act like we don't like each other. And it was the funniest thing because I was making these videos about how much I didn't like you, before our match, because that to me is fun. It's pro wrestling, right? And people were messaging me privately and saying, do you really not like Ron Convers? Because everyone likes you, right? And I would be responding to him in like direct messages. I'm like, no, can't stand him. And it was just trying to, that's my promotional marketing way of trying to get heat on the match. And so, but we actually are very good friends, and I love you to death, dude.
Well, it was really a pleasure to work with you to get that money for those families, and I'm really pretty proud of how that worked out.
Yeah, I am too. It's so fun, and it's one of those things where to make it fun, you can do a lot of good just because we do have names, right? I mean, people do follow us, and so to capitalize on that is really easy for us, but it means a lot to other people. And so I loved being able to do this. And although I will say this, I had people ask me, they said, well, what about the young guys on tour? I said that people would say, what can you do to motivate them to do more charity stuff and more stuff like that? And my response is honestly, that's not where their focus should be. They should be focusing on trying to win a world title. I fully believe that when you're in your 20s as an athlete, that's the time to be selfish. I really believe this, because you have a whole lifetime to do good later. But when you're out on tour, it should be about trying to compete and win a world title. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. This year with getting canceled and all that, they say they needed to step up. But yeah, in your 20s,
it's different.
That's when you're focused sport and trying to do your best.
Yeah,
I wish I would have had that. I mean, that would have been cool.
Yeah. All right. So what are your plans for this year? You're competing locally. Are you going to be traveling to any big tournaments, or is it hard to say?
I've already had COVID. So my blood is in high demand by the Red Cross for the antibodies I have, and I'm afraid of doing any more traveling or anything like that because of it. And I plan on giving some clinics and doing some touring. I still look forward to seeing you on the Big Island up in Canada to redo another match, maybe. And have yeah, sure. But yeah, I am looking to getting out and getting around. I really want to travel a little more this year, and I'm hoping to opportunity to do a little more than before. I should see you in Columbia, Missouri, at the redo. And up on the Big Island.
Gotcha. I'm looking forward to it. So I've been doing some trivia throughout the day. I have some trivia about someone in our age group. I saved this one for you. So there is a world champion out there who owns a private disc golf course, who has had a standing offer for 30 some odd years that if you fly out to his course, play him on his course, and you beat him, he will pay for your airline ticket to come out. Are you familiar with this story? And by the way, no one has ever beaten him on his home course and taken the prize from him.
I haven't heard this story. Who is it, and who do I have to beat?
It's Johnny Sias.
Yeah, I got to play with him.
Good job, Ryan.
The putting. I don't know. This last Worlds, we were combined in the putting, and he beat everybody. He beat away everybody that was there. The open players and everyone else got smashed by Andi. It was great to watch, and it was tons of fun to, be there hanging out. But yeah, I had never met him before that, so it was really nice.
Yeah, he's such a good guy. Yep, He was sold. Ryan Hunt said he beat Johnny Sias once, but Johnny was Sias and he had a partner. So, and George, one of the recipients. That's cool. So what is prompting you to play in the open division still? Because I'm 51, but I'm playing MP40, which is still down a division, but I don't want to say I'm scared, but I'll let other people say it, but maybe they're right. But the open tournaments, like, is it just wanting to compete?
Jump back and forth. The one I won was in my hometown. I played the two local courses, and then a throw together on a ball golf course distance. And I started like I saw on fire, and then by the first round, I was thinking, "Are you sure that this is the right one?" But I hung out and managed to hang on to it. And I didn't know I was going to win it. I ran for the let because I could teeth and had to make a win by a stroke. So it's as long as it's a possibility, I can still compete and be, serious about it. Not just like I'm going to play in this because no, I want to be able to win. And as long as I have that chance, I see no reason not to. Yeah, I jump around depending on the fields. If there's a great big field of open players and there's 3 masters, I'm playing open. And if it goes the other way too, if there's like 3 open players in a field of masters, I'm playing master. I haven't played very many grandmasters other than Worlds or Masters Cup, but yeah, I'm sure that'll get in the mix somewhere.
Gotcha. Hey, so we're still having a lot of feedback. Let me ask the people listening. Do you guys also hear feedback, or is that just on my end? And while they're answering, this is a great question. So what is your tip to having a long career? Because you're 58 and you're 1,009 rated. It's ridiculous.
Play to your strengths. You have to play to your strengths.
Okay.
If you're not a distance thrower, then you need to work on making sure that you have accurate shots. And make sure you don't all your opportunities. And
I got it. Thank you. Hey, I think we figured out what's going on. Can you? Is Facebook open on your phone? I think if you close Facebook and just follow the link, we'll be good. And now we lost you video-wise, but I'm sure you'll be back in. While we're waiting for Ron, what is his rating when he was 50 years old? All right, if you're off of Facebook, is Facebook closed?
Everything's closed.
Everything's closed. Okay. All right. Another piece of trivia for you that is going to be from our generation. Do you know the first famous rock and roll band to take up the sport of disc golf?
The first one? No, I don't. Which one is the first one?
The first one. So let me show you some geography. So here is Oak Grove Park. Over here in La Cañada lived David Lee Roth, and over here in Pasadena was Eddie Van Halen. So Van Halen in the early days, in the early, thank you, Bill Vaughn. In the earliest days when there was one course in the world, Oak Grove Park was a big party park, and Van Halen would go hang out at the park. They actually put on some shows there with generators back in like the late 70s.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, it says Ron's on speakerphone or Bluetooth, it says. Maybe the pit problem. Nope. That's okay. I mean, actually, at this point, we're probably good because, let's see. we're gonna just having a couple more people. We're only on for a little bit, and we have a few more people showing up. A world champion and a world record holder are still about to show up, and I think that's it, right? Holy cow! I can't believe this. What? Oh, do we send him the link? Oh, and we also have someone else. I don't want to announce because if they can't make it. But did you get a hold of them?
Everybody's got their links to show up.
It's just a matter of people coming in. Perfect. So cool. So you're doing it with you got the whole family out there, Ron?
Yeah, I'm actually at a grandson's house, doing the Christmas here, and then we're gonna go back to Blackwell where I live and do another dinner with son and his family, and then head back to the house in the afternoon late to host a few people. So back and forth and around. It's family makes for a lot of busyness in the holidays.
Yeah, well, I'm sure at this point you have some great grandkids as well.
Well, yeah, he's that's.
Do you? I was kidding.
No, I've got 8 greats.
What? I was joking. I was trying to make fun of you for being old, and you have 8. Holy macaroni. So the phone just said it just hit 200 gigabytes of data. Is that fine? Doesn't matter. Okay. Well, cool. So you're gonna be traveling some tournaments. So I got one more question for you, Ron. And we got 3 more people about to pop on. So Oak Grove Park is the world's oldest disc golf course. Do you know what the second oldest permanent disc golf course in the world is?
Permanent. I do not.
Nope. Anybody listening? Any of the people watching have a guess? In Pittsburgh, I don't think so, but maybe. And by the way, my answer maybe doesn't mean I don't know. It means that none of us know. Medina, Brahms Springs, not La Mirada. Brahms Springs is in Huntsville. Sedgley. Oak Grove is number 1. There come the questions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give it away. So the answer to the question is, we don't know what the second course to go in the ground is. So when Ed, sorry to throw a trick question at you, but it makes for interesting conversation because Oak Grove went in first. Ed Hedrick started going to these Parks and Rec conferences. He did not keep good records. Let's see, did someone post that as well? Yep, he did not keep good records back then, and so there were courses that went in at various times, and there's a debate on what's the second course. There's Honey Badger in Peru, Indiana. There's Brahms Springs. There's a course in Pueblo. There's Sedgley Woods. There were about a dozen courses, and a few of them are no longer in the ground. But yeah, so there's a endless to never be solved debate who number 2 was. And we have a guest who's about to log in. And give me 1 second. We're going to bring him on. But I will tell you a quick funny story about the second oldest course in the world, right? So I was at Brahms Springs in Alabama. And when I got there at Brahms Springs, this is just a couple years ago, there was a big old sign at the park that said, "World's first disc golf course." At Brahms Springs, right? And I said, well, I'm running an event. I'm like, well, I don't want to get into an argument, but we all know that's not true. And so I'm waiting. And so finally the tournament director or the club president comes and shows up at the event. And I pulled him aside and I pointed to the sign and I said, you know, that's not true, right? And his exact words verbatim was, he said, "Yeah, we know that. We don't care." And I couldn't even argue with him because I was about ready to debate him on it. And he's like, "Yeah, we already know. What's your point? We can hang whatever sign we want. It's Alabama." I know. Hey, so I'm going to bring on somebody. I got someone to come on here. I know you probably got to get back to your family, but you're welcome to stay as long as you want. But I also know you took time away from the family. Thank you, sir.
I'm headed back in to finish my plate. You guys
awesome.
Have a very, very Merry Christmas.
I love it. I love it. All right, we're gonna bring on. We have two people to come on. The first one is so we're gonna get to the second person in a minute. So please hang out there, friend. But the first person I'm gonna bring on is the player who threw the most famous throw in the history of disc golf. He is the only person to have a throw evaluated on sports science as well as being on Sports Center, and we're going to bring on Philo Brathwaite. Let's see. Is he on?
Hey. Merry
What's
Christmas,
up, Philo?
everybody. What's up, buddy? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. How are you doing?
How's it going?
Good, good. So the first question I have to ask, are you tired of talking about that shot, like at this point?
No, not yet.
Yeah. I remember I'm a pro wrestling guy, and Mick Foley was famous for being thrown off the top of a steel cage at Hell in a Cell, and his entire career was defined by that one move. And he for years got more and more tired of talking about it until all of a sudden he came back full circle, and now he likes it. But I think about you and that, because like you have this great career, but this one throw is so spectacular.
It's all good to me, man. I mean, you never know how you're going to leave your footprint on the world, you know, or especially when you're an athlete. And we all try to achieve greatness in one way or another, and we play an individual sport. So usually those are chalked up to wins or, you know, accolades of that sort. And, you know, not having a particular marquee win in my career, you know, having a shot like that went viral, you know, transcended, you know, just went all over the place, went everywhere. And yeah, that was special, man. I mean, I didn't even realize it in that moment, but it's been a very surreal feeling to think about ever since then. You know, it's like, wow, that happened, you know, like, it's never going away, you know. So I guess it's cool to be like the standard, you know, it's cool to set the standard and stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but it was shot well, and it did. I mean, everything came together like perfectly, because that shot easily could have been. They only got it from the tee pad or from the fairway, I should say, right?
For sure.
But
yeah, the whole thing was magical, man. The whole situation, man. And I've said it before. You know, it wasn't just about the disc going in the basket. I mean, that weekend was special. My parents were there. You know, they traveled up from California up to Portland to watch us compete. Yeah, they very seldomly, like over my career, really, other than Wintertime Open here in Pasadena, where they would come out and support. And you know, very seldom would they really have the opportunity to come out and walk with me and watch me do what I do. And since they're both retired now and able to do so and had some free time, and said, we've never been to Oregon, let's go up there, you know, and watch them play. So that's what happened. And they were walking with me. And, you know, I had another special friend with me, the person that got me my travel van, which is sitting right there outside my parents' house. And,
all right.
My good friend Karen Lindsay was there, and that's the lady you hear in the background yelling, "All right, Philo," at the end. You know, she. Yeah, that's just like the whole thing, man. It was awesome, man. You couldn't really draw it up any better.
No, that's perfect. So, what are your plans for next year? I asked you where. So when I reached out to you, I didn't know the current situation. So I said, "Where are you living these days?" And you're like, "I'm on the road, brother." Like what? Like what? So are you basing anywhere for the winter even, or are you still just on the go?
No, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm at my folks, you know, in the neighborhood, my parents' house, and
you
know, parked right outside, hanging out, taking it easy for a little while.
Gotcha.
You know, COVID season, man. It's raging around here, so it's, you know, smart to lay low and not do too much, you know.
Yeah. What are your plans for next year? I mean,
are you a little bit there?
Oh, can you hear me now?
I got you.
So, are there? Do you have plans for next year already, or are you just taking it by ear, or like, what do you like? What's the plan?
Well, there's a lot of things kind of shaping up still. I mean, my contract with Innova got renewed. I'm hanging around for another year, and I'm definitely going to be competing. But you know, with the commentary stuff becoming more in demand, I guess you could say. It's not like I've been calling around asking for jobs. People have been sending me emails and offering things, and another one popped up on the radar that might pull me off the tour, you know, in person a little bit, but I'd still be a part of it, just in a different, you know, in a different way, doing live commentary. But I'm not really sure how likely that's going to be. If it would, that would be awesome. I mean, another opportunity to engage with the disc golf community to help tell the story of the event, you know, and I think Ian and I make a really good team, and we had a lot of fun doing USDGC, man. That was a special week for both of us, you know, and really it's the fans, it's everybody watching, the people tuning in, you know, and paying for the subscriptions and hopping on pay-per-view, and all those people are really the ones driving it. So I'm just kind of following their lead. I know I'm getting older, you know, it's not very common. You see guys in their 40s and into their 50s really keeping up with guys 22, 23, you know,
Right.
and I just kind of have to like realize that and understand that. And I mean, I'm not saying I don't still have game. I mean, I can look at my last season. I still finished top 10 on Disc Golf Pro Tour, and, you know, had a bunch of top 10 finishes early on in the season, you know, sprinkled them in there a little bit towards the end, but I mean, it's still in there. I mean, golf is, you know, it's a roller coaster. It's fickle. It comes and goes. You know, there's so much talent out there. It's so hard to put the pieces together, you know, just as well as anybody. It's a difficult game to be on top for very long. So, you know, I'm just happy to still be a part of it, still be relevant. I definitely still have the fire to compete. You know, it's cool that I can play the age-protected majors if I want. So I definitely am looking forward to taking a crack at one of those, and maybe both of them. I don't know. I'm still planning on going to Europe, playing European Open. They still have my entry fee from last year. So there's still a lot on the table for me, man. I've got my Team Philo workshops. I definitely want to work into my season some more. Those have been super successful. And, you know, the fans and the people that show up and do them, they're always stoked. I haven't had a bad review yet, you know, and
yeah,
I just really enjoy that part of it, man. It's so much fun to connect with people. Like, that's a big part of the pleasure for me being in this environment. Is I'm very much a people person. I love that exchange of energy with people, and it's awesome to be in this position, man. It really is. It's truly special.
For sure, man. I love it. So, I mean, it what's funny too is that, I mean, there's two parts to your a sports career. One is simply the performance on the field, but then the other part is your personality, your marketability, all these other factors that you pay the bills with. You know, and it doesn't mean, you know, contrive, but it's a real thing. So when I posted a post for all the people that are showing up on this show. Everyone's a USDGC champion, a world champion, a world record holder, just about. And you and Elaine King got the most likes, like, as far as just, you know, Elaine's, you know, in the conversation is GOAT, and like, but that matters. That matters career-wise.
It does. I mean, definitely it's in the back of our minds. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, we're all aspiring to achieve greatness, you know, on some level or another. It could be different for you or for the next guy, but in their mind, there's something that's a goal. There's a pinnacle that they feel they can reach, or else why else would you try? You know, why would you go out there and drive circles around America and fly around the world trying to be a part of something if you have no goal, you know? And of course it means something to me to try to have a goal, you know, and my goal was to take it as far as I could go, to be as good as I could be. Wherever that stacked me up in the field versus everybody else is where it lands where it lands. You know what I mean? I kind of have control of that, and then part of it I don't, you know, and I just really enjoy the process of it. I've always loved sport. I've always loved athletics. Music has been another passion of mine in my life, and both of these things, both music and athletics, it's like you can take it as far as you're willing to work for it, kind of a thing. Right. You know, and I love to work. I love to work. You know, my work ethic is pretty high when it comes to my mind is set to something, and that's what got me to this point, honestly, man, is I just really was dedicated to the process.
Cool.
I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I knew it was not going to be easy. You know, I saw what I had to work with when I came on tour in 2006 and what I was up against, and you know, I've always been behind in one way or another. You know, it's like I've always kind of been behind the curve. You know, like the learning process mentally, the learning process physically. Like most of the guys that I play against now, they've been playing since adolescence or younger. You know, and it's just the game is different for them. You know, and I've had to earn everything, man. Like every stroke, every putt, every ability, you know, is just not saying that they haven't either, but I had to do it in a shorter period of time.
Right.
You know, I really had to work hard to figure this stuff out and train and understand understand the game the best I could and like make up my mind. How am I going to attack this game? You know what I mean? Because if you just go out there and do it all random all the time, then you get some pretty bad results usually. You gotta have some kind of technique dialed in, you know, and I really focused on that part for quite some time.
Yeah, well, and it shows obviously. So hey, I promised you and everybody.
Strength of my game really is just the technique, man, and I don't put a lot of wear and tear on my body. I've been super fortunate to never have like a major disc golf injury or anything. Still there?
Yeah. Very cool. Hey, I told everybody I would get them out of here. I would try to help because I know you stepped away from your family, and I really appreciate it. And we got to.
No worries, man.
But real quick before we go, I want to know. Real quick before we go.
Christmas flowers.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome.
Mom's birthday today. I had to go grab her some flowers.
Cool. Hey, real quick, I want one more thing from you before you go, though, because you are considered one of the several best teachers in the game. Yeah, and I know that that's part of your career and you're part of the thing. So tell everybody how they could like pitch yourself for just a minute. How can they get your teaching? No, I'm serious. I mean, that's all right.
Right on, man. So my platform is Team Philo, disc golf clinics and lessons and stuff like that. I've been at this for about 12 years now total, really like kind of organizing clinics and whatnot. And it's been a process, but I really feel like I've dialed in my thing here, my way of bringing the information to people to make it very understandable very quickly and see results that day. You can always hit me up, teamphilo@yahoo.com, send me an email, inquire about when I'm passing through your neighborhood. I'm going to be putting out my tour schedule as soon as I figure out what's up with this commentary stuff. If I'm, you know, off tour just a little bit more and doing some live commentary, then, you know, it might not open up as many of the cities I'd like to go to, but you know, I'm still going to be out there. So pretty soon, everybody will pretty much have an idea of where I'll be, but you can always hit me up on Team Philo, yahoo.com, Instagram @Team Philo, all the social medias. There's a Team Philo. Just find it, reach out to me, send me an email, let me know you're interested, and I'll try to work it into the schedule as best I can. I really want to make a lot of stops this year and really enjoy that part of the game. You know, it's a lot of fun for me.
Cool. Hey, thank you so much, and go enjoy the family. I appreciate you giving us your time. Everyone appreciates you. Thanks, man.
No worries. Thank you guys, man. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. All right, so I have two people in the waiting room, one who's been waiting for a little while, but actually the timing of this couldn't be better. So it's a party, right? You can't have a party without a juggler, and I have not just a juggler, but the Paul Macbeth of juggling. He has 7 Guinness Book World Records for juggling. 8. I'm sorry, he has 8. Well, one of them got beaten. Either 7 or 8 Guinness World Records for juggling. He's also the first juggler to work in a resort town with his own one-man show. He's not part of a variety act. He has his own show. It's Niels Duinker. But I'm also going to bring on, and I'm bringing them on both at the same time because we're getting close to the end with time. But I have another world record holder. If you want to know which woman throws a flying disc farther than anyone else in the world, it's the person that's about to join us. She currently holds the Guinness World Record for the longest flying disc thrown. So we have Niels and then Jennifer Allen. I'm going to bring them both on. So first we'll go with Niels. And we're going to add to stream.
Here we are.
And then Jennifer's already on. Jennifer and Niels. Hey, Jennifer. Hey. So, thank you, Niels. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. Thank you. So Jennifer, if you have, do you have a couple minutes?
I have a few.
A few.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let's Niels, do you have can you hang out for a few while we talk to Jennifer? I didn't want to leave you hanging. All right, perfect. I know that Jennifer's got her kids and family. So where are you? You're in Arizona now.
In Arizona, been here a little over 2 years now. We love it.
Okay.
Nice and pretty outside.
And the whole family's awesome.
Whole family's running around. Dogs are going crazy.
Yeah, I promised you that you could have 5 minutes. We'll let you get back to the family. I know,
You're
but
totally
just
fine.
taking the time. It means a lot to people. So I have to ask you, because we have something in common, that the world record of the farthest disc thrown. So when did you break and then re-break your own record? Is that right?
No, I actually broke it on the very first throw that I tried and then didn't beat that one. There was 3 days. First day was like perfect conditions. Second day there was 0 wind, and then the third day was like the crazy wind. So broke it first time, first throw.
Okay, and how far is it for everyone who's listening?
568.5 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty far. So 568 feet and a half. Yeah, by the way, you're just like me. I never gave my distance without adding and how many inches. So
That's right.
we all do this. So let's make sure we're clear. Do you ever correct people if they say 568? Do you correct them with the half?
No.
Okay, so we're not exactly the same. I would have corrected them. I'm just teasing. So are you competing in many golf tournaments next year, or what is your focus on golf?
COVID pending. This year was really, really difficult for me because unable to take off the time for the 2-week quarantine. I work full-time in healthcare. So it just depends on which ones I could have went to. So this year limited me with COVID extremely. So I don't know. Who knows what next year? I mean, I hope I get to play.
Gonna play it better. I know that you're mom number one, right? That's the priority. Yeah, everyone knows that. Do you see a parole in the future where you're able to go out and tour? Is that something you ever thought about doing if you're able to someday?
I don't know. I love my job so much too. So between working, my kids, and golf, I mean, I don't know which one I would want to just leave. So my son is getting really good. So I hope to someday add in the mix of going and watching him play and go on tour. So that would be awesome.
Are you still beating him though?
Barely. He is getting so good. He can throw as far as me now, and he has an amazing forehand, which I've never had. He whipped up on us on a little charity event we played in a few weeks ago. So it's getting pretty good.
Okay, well, I mean, as a parent of a 20-year-old, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yes, for sure.
You know, and by the way, it's a very mixed feeling when your kids beat you, because like you are proud of them. That's how you're supposed to feel. But that's still a part of you that's like,
yeah,
like no, like you're like, I changed your diaper. Like you're not supposed to beat me at anything yet.
Exactly. No. So it is really fun, and it pushes me. He pushes me to get out and practice and make my putts. When I practice, it's usually just for fun, and I don't focus quite as much. So now that I know his goal and only goal during the day is to beat me, so it makes me practice a little harder. So it's nice.
How old is he?
He is 15 and a half. Add the half.
Okay. and a half.
And a half.
That's the other thing about the world records is when like you're at a certain age, you also are and a half. Exactly. And a half. Well, cool. Hey, like I said, you are invited to stick around as long as you want, but I know it's a family day. So the fact that you can step in, people are posting that it's an inspiration. You are. I mean, the thing about the world records is you set the bar that people can aspire to. Mm-hmm. And it means they can see what's possible. And there's something about world records that are special that way. Like, you know, if you could do it, and then someday yours is going to be beat, and it's like you carried this torch that you passed on to the next generation. And I never felt sad over losing the records, minus maybe that day. But beyond that, I felt it was rewarding to pass the torch. And so it might be a while at 568, but eventually you'll pass the torch, and then you're part of history forever. It's really neat.
Absolutely. I think I love that more than anything is I trained really, really hard for probably a solid year. And so not only did that show others, but to my kids, you know, that I had a goal. I thought it was an achievable goal, and I worked extremely hard until I made it happen. So I do love that part of it. Sorry, dogs got new toys.
Yeah, you're
they're going crazy.
You're good.
So it is, but winning world championships and stuff like that, they're all just like this amazing, goal in life. But it's fun to do, and to know that it'll be around a little bit, hopefully.
568 is going to be around a while, but as I learned, not forever. So
Not forever.
enjoy every day. Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
so
Merry Christmas, everyone. We'll miss everyone
thank
back
you.
home. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Thanks, Scott, for doing this.
Yeah, you will. Thank you for joining.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. All right. It is not a party without a juggler. That should be on your business card. So, Niels, you said I asked you if you would demonstrate some juggling for us from the highest level.
I thought it was perfect Christmas party, so I got my Christmas jacket. It's a virtual show, so nobody wears nice pants during a virtual show. We're both here in Tennessee, so it's been snowing. So I went outside, grabbed a couple snowballs. So I want to start with one snowball because I need to warm up too. This is contact juggling. The ball rolls over my hands. But now I'm going to make it more difficult. I'm going to do it while thinking of something else. So
that's great.
So that's one ball juggling. But people always with juggling, the more balls you add, the more impressed they are. So we got plenty of snow. I think we both got 5-6 inches of snow yesterday.
Yep.
Because we're in the Smoky Mountains. So I grabbed 3 snowballs from outside. So I have to juggle these quickly before they start melting. So this is a trick that's called the Mill Smith. It's kind of confusing. If you got confused, I could say follow the white one. It's the one right here in the middle. Crazy trick. A trick for the ladies. Biceps juggling.
Wow.
Magic. Magnets. On the floor juggling. Nobody saw that. Went out of screen. That's 3-ball juggling.
Very
well,
cool.
I hear in my earbud, everybody's screaming for more balls.
Yep, of course.
5 balls. So that's about the max I can do under the fan without breaking the lights.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. All right. The world record for 5-ball juggling is a couple hours. So if you want, I can break it right now. We can. Your party finishes at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to move on quickly because it's a Christmas show. So I went around the house, found all the Christmas stuff because as a juggler, you always want to juggle everything that you can get your hands on. So these ones, we didn't drink yet. So I'm going to juggle them first. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Juggling on single spins, double spins, triple spins. On the floor juggling, once again, out of screen, so nobody saw that mistake. All right, we'll save these for later tonight.
Very cool. Candy cane juggling.
Juggle all the Christmas stuff I found. So these again, I will save for later. This was a hard one. Like I wanted to unpack all my Christmas presents this morning, but I knew I had this very, very important appearance here at the Scott Stokely show. So I saved these ones. I'll take them out like later. And again, out of screen, nobody saw that.
Big thing.
That's the beauty of virtual shows. On YouTube, you can edit it out, but here, you just go out of screen.
Cool. Very cool.
I hope they're going to be something good inside. My Christmas cups. And now I'm going to do 3 with my right hand. Check this out. 3 with my right hand. That's very good. And now, even more difficult, 3 with my left hand. Check this out.
Very cool.
So good. Now all 6.
Crazy.
Okay, this
People
trick
are digging it.
is going to be so hard. I need to take my jacket off. Also to show off my huge biceps muscle. This is America, it's the gun show. Go big or go home. Juggle this real size basketball. You see, it looks a lot different with the camera. The real size, I'm going to juggle this bowling ball and this knife. See, that's how we do this virtual, so everybody is safe except me and the fan that is hanging right here above me.
Very cool. Very cool.
No, I'm gonna throw it in there. So
what? Yeah, you got applause in the comments. You can't hear the applause. People are applauding.
thank you so much. I take everything applause, like real Facebook likes, virtual applause. I take it all.
So how hard is it with the ceiling? I mean that's
Well,
everything, right?
It's like technically maybe not so much, but this is my girlfriend's fan. So just the pressure, if I break it, like it's mostly the pressure that I'm feeling right here on my shoulders. It's not so much the technical skill. I mean, like it's more difficult, and like the theaters, like right now I'm here in Pigeon Forge. I know you're in Gatlinburg. It's tourist town. There's a lot of theaters. Normally they have high ceilings. It makes it easier. Also, some tricks. For example, if you juggle more than 5, I need more ceiling height. But like also before coming here, I performed a lot of more cruise ships and some of the more luxurious cruise ships, like Regent Cruise Line and even Disney Cruise Line. In one lounge, it's about the ceiling height, and you still got to do like a half-hour show or 45 minutes there. So it's funny, like as a professional juggler, you still have to be able to deliver a pretty good show under a ceiling this low. But like most of the time, you don't have to. But like it's a little bit more difficult.
Okay, so when you're juggling swords, I'm sure you've been asked this 600 times. Have you ever caught the wrong end?
Yes. Actually, the worst. Let me go closer to the camera. So like right here, like I still have a little scar because one time I was performing on board the Queen Elizabeth cruise ship, which was real cool. But then it was in Australia, and the sea was rocking. The ship was rocking. It was crazy. So I was juggling, and usually when you juggle, so you know when it comes down. But like if the ship goes up and you throw it, it goes way higher if you go down. So like so I got some uplift when I got the up wave, and then the ship down. So my body was lower than I expected it. I thought it would be normal, but it was not. So then instead of a single spin, the knife did a spin and a half. And these are pretty heavy. So like they're not razor sharp, but like the point is still, you got to be careful with those. So then it went right under my skin.
Right.
And then it's bleeding. So like that's the worst knife juggling accident I've had. But like, yeah, that's especially on the cruise ships because you're inside, you don't know. And sometimes the storm picks up and then, stuff like that can happen, especially the point with your eyes. And like, I'm always careful. It's not like sushi sharp, but it's still, you got to be careful. It's still not a toy.
Gotcha. Now, you told me when we talked before that juggling 3 different objects gets the most applause, even though it's technically not the most difficult.
Yes, like it's fun, little things, like even those cups. If I would juggle them outside in the snow right now, there's a little bit of snow and wet that gets into it, so they wouldn't slide out the same. But people don't think about it, so they think, okay, it's just a couple cups, it's not that hard. So for me, that would be very hard. Like the 3 different objects, people go like, oh, that's amazing. I need to spin different. Like there's this coordination in his brain because the knife spins, the bowling ball is heavy, the other one is small, and it's just very good for the show. Like it's not easy, but it's also not the most difficult thing that you can do.
Gotcha. That's cool. So you told me yesterday you're in Pigeon Forge for a little bit, but then you're going to be taking gigs. You're kind of a free agent a little bit.
Yeah, so like I was very lucky. So I graduated college in mechanical engineering. Then I went on the cruise. So I headlined my show on board all the major cruise lines all over the world for 8 years. Then I got tired of traveling all the time. So I was lucky the Comedy Bar and Theater, which is a very funny, clean comedy variety show here in town, booked me. I worked there for 3 years. Then that run came to an end. Then I went to Ohio. Again, I got very lucky during COVID. It was one of the few theaters in a region where we're still allowed to do shows. So all season long, I headlined my own show in Ohio. And now I'm back here and now figuring out next year. But I have some projects in the work. Like we spoke about your book. Like I'm working on my book with all kind of stories. That's one project that I know for merchandise that will be good. Like I'm working on couple online projects with the juggling. So I'm very excited about that. I have a couple training goals. Like my friend Albert Lucas, he's the only guy in the world that ever did 14 rings, and he's teaching me the methods to get to 12 rings. So I'm very excited about that. And then for next summer, I have another show like in the works that I will be headlining. So yeah, like it's kind of nice. Like I've been working so hard for like over 10 years, and most performers, sadly, in March they saw their schedule empty. Like for me, I feel like it's a little bit longer, but a little bit later, and it's right now like I have a couple months off, which is actually it's a good thing for now.
That's cool. Yeah, and I saw the video where you did a challenge match against the world's fastest card thrower, and I started thinking about challenge matches that we could do if we get together.
Yeah, that's amazing because I have my juggling rings right here.
That's it. Yeah.
So yeah, when you know something, I will gladly challenge you.
Yeah, when I know something, yeah, we'll see, buddy. We'll take you on in the. I mean, it's something I don't know. We'll figure out. But I was watching the card one. Well, cool. Hey, I really appreciate you taking the time out, and then doing the podcast with me and everything was fantastic. We're checking out off in a couple minutes, so I'll go ahead and let you go. I'll go ahead and say goodbye to everybody, but thank you very much, Niels. We will be in touch.
Was a pleasure. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. All right, you guys. So we got just a few minutes left, and I have not thanked Frolf Center, the podcast. These guys, they're the ones who turned us on to this software. They were helped coaching us how to use it. I also want to introduce you. Want to say hi? Sure. This is, by the way, if you don't know, this is my girlfriend, Adriana. Are you on camera? Yeah. She has been the technical mind behind everything I'm doing. So she's over here working and sending out invites and managing everything. And the people from Frolf Center jumped on board. And thank you so much, guys. It's a great podcast, a great group of guys. And so just thank you a million times to you guys, because on Christmas Day, they actually told me they would be on speed dial in case I needed them, which is so generous. Yeah, thank you guys, everybody that stopped by.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. So we're gonna stand. We're not gonna leave early in case anybody shows in at 2:59. See any more trivia questions to end the day with? The second disc golf, the world champion, the first rock band, all this running this tournament. Holy cow, we even covered it all. So I even got through all the trivia questions. Can't believe how smoothly this went.
Yeah, and all of the guests show too, except for Avery Jenkins, who got stuck in the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Though, but everybody, this is so generous of everybody to take their time. A lot of them literally stepped outside to their cars away from their family, just to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And so it's just so sweet of everybody. This disc golf is the greatest sport in the world. It's the greatest people in the world. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Will. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, and Jeremy Koling wanted to say, what was your favorite moment from the whole ordeal so far today?
From the show?
Yeah.
My favorite moment from the show? Honestly, hearing some of the newer players talk about the connection that I made to them when they in the early days, and the role I played in the evolution of the sport. Like, I care more about being recognized for what I contributed to the sport than I do about being recognized for throwing far. I mean, the competitive ego in me wants to be recognized for that too. But when it means more to me, it makes me tear up when I hear people like Nate Sexton talk about when he saw me play as a brand new player, and he went, "Oh my God, I can't believe what's possible." And that's something that is, it means I'm leaving something behind, because Nate's one of the best people out there, one of the best teachers, and he's leaving, he's having that same effect on kids today. And so he's passing it all along. And yeah, it's like that just means the world. The catching up to my friends from the 90s, I don't know, just all of it, like everybody, like that, like I can't play favorites. It's not a favorite on Nate. It's just hearing that from people, just the coolest thing. So guys, we're gonna, yeah, thank you, Bill, thank you, Ted, Ryan, everybody. What? Oh yeah, you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and there's good. I got free content coming out constantly. I got here. I'll show you guys one more time. Last thing I'm going to show you. Where's that list? Here. One of the videos that's going to be coming out next, right here. And I'm not going to hold it up fast enough for you to read it, but this right here is the definitive, and by definitive I mean my opinion and mine alone, list of the 30 best finesse players, 30 best power throwers, 30 best putters of the 90s. I'm going to be putting out videos of those. I'm also putting out videos on mental game. All that content on YouTube is free. I mean, I have the Patreon and all that, but that is never going to be something. It'll never be paid content. It'll always be free, first and foremost, so it's accessible to everyone. So look for some cool stuff. Subscribe on YouTube, and then yeah, man, I don't want to go. I feel like I'm like leaving everybody, like that I love so much. But I'm going to do some family stuff too. So thank you guys. Love all of you. I mean, I literally love every single one of you. Even the few of you that I don't necessarily like, I still love you because you're family. So love all of you. Have a Merry Christmas. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Adriana. Bye, guys.